Econ 7 will be in Houston, Texas on Saturday, January 31st, 2026, and featuring some of your favorite debaters that you can come out and meet and see debating live, including David Wood, Daniel Hakikachu, Inspiring Philosophy, Mike Jones, and more. Check out the tickets right now in the description box. You don't want to miss it. We're expecting it to sell out. Grab your tickets now. Hey everybody, tonight we are debating Israel or Hamas, who is in the wrong, and we are starting right now with Junior's opening statement. Thanks for being with us. Junior, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, James. Hello to all that are on this call. I'm going to be starting off this opening statement with a presentation that I've made. This presentation is a simple one. It doesn't really, touch in detail on, the conflict that is happening in the Middle East, but rather touches on the debate subject and focuses exactly on proving who is more in the wrong. Hamas versus Israel, to me, is resistance versus occupation. This is our beautiful resistance fighter here. So just before I dive deep into it, the history of Palestine is actually 7,000 years old. A lot of people say Jews have been promised the land 4,000 years ago, whereas Palestine is 5,000 to 7,000 years old. Canaanites lived there as early as 3000 BC. The name Philistia, Palestina, appears in ancient Egyptian and Greek records over 3,000 years ago. The Romans officially renamed the region Syria, Palestina in 135 CE. Arabs lived there long before Islam and continuously after Islam emerged as a religion. Under the Ottoman rule, Palestine was recognized as a recognized demographic region with cities, borders, and population. This was for 400 years, from 1517 to 1917. So where did the Jews come from, right? So the Jews came as refugees in World War II. Obviously, there were some diaspora Jews in Palestine already, right? Just as in any country, you find some Jews. But Jews, majority of them came as refugees. And the majority of them came during the World War II phase. Before that, we saw, Jews fleeing persecution in the 1800s, specifically 1882. But we saw the majority of Jews fleeing from Nazi Germany and Eastern Europe during the 1900s. Most Jews arrived in Palestine under the British Mandate, not a sovereign Jewish state. Palestinians already lived there for centuries, and we accepted these refugees. It was common. We're kind-hearted people. We accepted them in, we allowed them to live with us. Early Zionist leaders themselves described this migration as immigration, not refuge, not return to an existing state. So statehood came later, as we all know, in the 1948 year, through political partition, war, but not through refugee status alone. So in my opening statement, I'm going to run through 10 points. The root, Gaza as a prison, civilian deaths, the Hamas label, and the ceasefires. Then I'm going to touch on Zionism. What is it? Israel's backup, reputation, the harsh reality of the conflict, and just being honest and truth. So the root cause. This is exactly why the conflict started. The conflict did not begin with Hamas. It began with displacement, occupation, and denial of self-determination. So 1948, over 700,000 Palestinians were displaced. 1967, Israel occupies Gaza, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, following the Six-Day War. 1987, that's when Hamas was founded, 20 years after the occupation. And according to international law, occupation and population transfer are illegal under the Geneva Conventions. So this makes Gaza a prison. Gaza, under international law, is not a free territory. Since 2007, almost 20 years ago, Israel has imposed a full land, air, and sea blockade on Gaza. Israel controls all borders except one, plus airspace and coastal waters. Movement is totally restricted for 2.3 million people. Exit is nearly impossible. Israel regulates calories, food, fuel, water, electricity, imports and exports. The Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International classify these conditions as collective punishment, which is illegal. To become a citizen of Israel, it's pretty much impossible unless you're Jewish. In 1950, there was a law of return established, automatic citizenship for Jews worldwide, but there's no citizenship pathway for Palestinians under occupation. 2003 to 2022, there was insane family unification ban blocks, which banned, residency and citizenship for Palestinians. So even if you had a family member in Israel, you couldn't get citizenship. Palestinians cannot apply, and there is no queue. There's no waiting list, period. You cannot become Israeli. So the genocide in Gaza is very important because, the claim that most civilians were killed, where Hamas was the most civilians were killed are Hamas, is actually false. Over 2 million people are confined in Gaza with no escape. We've watched the 830-day live stream genocide. All of us did. There's estimates all over the place. Some people say it's 70,000, some people say 700,000 civilians were killed. You can't tell me all of these people were Hamas. You just can't. Because children make up 40 to 50% of the fatalities. Gaza has a population of 2.3 million people. If more than half are children under 18, and Hamas fighters, according to U.S. intelligence and Israeli intelligence, is only 20,000 to 30,000, then 98% of Gaza's population are actually non-combatants. So when airstrikes flatten apartment towers, refugee camps, schools, hospitals, UN shelters, the people inside are overwhelmingly civilians, just by the math. Calling every victim Hamas is not evidence. It's a justification for not distinguishing between combatants and families. And I assume that my partners are going to say the majority of people who were killed are Hamas, or they're going to refer to a 2-to-1 civilian to Hamas ratio. Systematic destruction of homes, hospitals, and infrastructure became normal. Aid, food, water, and fuel restriction became normal. According to Lavender AI, which is an Israeli software, it confirms that 83% of the people killed are children and women. Why this matters legally is because this is the definition of genocide. Everything I just listed, killing, harming, and deliberately inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring about destruction or displacement, that's genocide, according to the UN Convention. So let's talk about civilian deaths. Civilian deaths in Gaza are not an accident. They're a pattern. Let's look at the numbers again. Gaza population, 2.3 million. Over half of children are under 18. Right? Over half are children under 18. Tens of thousands of children have been killed. The majority of casualties are women and children. International law literally requires a country and armies to distinguish civilians from fighters before killing. Israel has not done that. Israel repeatedly fails this obligation. When you look at this diagram, you'll see that out of 40,000 Gazans that were killed, the overwhelmingly majority is 100% civilian demographic. The overwhelming majority. Civilian deaths don't just stop there, because you got to look at the lives affected. 1 in 43 Palestinians has lost a child due to war impacts. 1 in 43 Palestinians. Over 40,000 children have lost one or both parents since 2023. That means Israel has created 40,000 orphans. Nearly 90% of homes have been destroyed or damaged. We're only talking since 2023, by the way, which is ridiculous. Then we have the Hamas label. Israel labels me as Hamas. They label all Palestinians as Hamas, right? When there's actually 20,000 to 30,000 fighters according to their own intelligence. Math alone proves that most people that were killed are not combatants. Palestinians are not combatants. They're not Hamas. Calling every civilian Hamas is not evidence. The term Hamas itself is an acronym for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya. And if you look at the acronym, the initials are Hamai. It's supposed to be Hamai. So why did Israel choose the name Hamas? Because Hamas means aggression in Hebrew. And if they use that word in the media, in the news, they're more likely to get support from their people. Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. What does that mean? Aggression, aggression, aggression. Okay, these people are aggressive. But in Arabic, it fell short because that word actually means zeal, strength, bravery. So when you look at Hamas as a group, they're not the only resistance group in Palestine. They actually originated from the Muslim Brotherhood. So Hamas itself is considered a terrorist organization because of the Muslim Brotherhood label. But because Hamas and Israel are in the same conversation, we can also say that Israel is also a terrorist organization. Since agreeing to the Gaza ceasefire, Israel has violated it nearly 1,000 times. This is the ceasefire that was agreed upon last year, by the way. They killed over 400 Palestinians. There's so many ways that Israel has failed to keep its promises in the past. And this is a known pattern by Israel since 2008. In 2008, they shattered the November 4th ceasefire. In 2012 to 2014, they broke so many UN brokered ceasefires. In 2014, all ceasefires were broken within 14 days. 2023 to present, they have violated thousands of times, and this is reported by the UN and OCHA. For Israel, ceasefire is just headlines for commercial breaks, and then we continue bombing. When a ceasefire is supposed to mean safety, it's supposed to mean people can breathe, children can sleep without screaming, doctors can treat the wounded instead of dodging bombs. But in Gaza, ceasefire is nothing more than a headline. The world scrolls, then they think, oh, it's paused. But Israel continues to bomb, shoot, starve, suffocate the same civilians it claims to be protecting. Aid trucks are blocked at the border while babies die waiting for water. Bulldozers are stopped from clearing rubble while parents dig for their children with their own bare hands. Cancer patients miss their treatments and die quickly because Israel won't let them cross a checkpoint. Every time Israel breaks a ceasefire, it kills not just people, but hope. And that hope is all we have left. So the idea of Zionism is the idea of Jews having a homeland and supremacy. But it's not embedded in Judaism. Actually, a lot of Jews reject Zionism because they believe their faith forbids building a state through displacement, war, or the oppression of other people. There are a lot of groups like
Just so you know, this would be the time that if you were going to divide up the opening statements the way you guys proposed.
Julian, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a continuation of what Junior was saying because me and him pretty much had the same presentation. So Junior, I'm just gonna describe Zionism and you continue the slide, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me know when you want me to change the slide. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm just gonna summarize Zionism into the point of the whole belief of Zionism is the idea that the land of Palestine, British mandated back in 1948 and before that, was promised to the Jewish people. And this is a concept that Jews rejected for a long period of time because the religion teaches that Zionism is not a construct within their religion. And it's also a relatively new term that only existed for 120 years. And while Judaism is 3,000 years old. So overall, the idea of Zionism in this conflict is totally, no, what's that word? Permissible, like what's the antonym of permissible, like prohibited in Judaism. Okay, next. Israel's backup plan is pretty much that if they don't have Israel to their own, they have to choose whether Argentina, Paraguay, Cyprus, Greece, and even Pentagonia in the case of Israel's collapses. And also, you also have factors that Israeli billionaires buy off land in case Israel were to ever self-destruct or
they literally just burned Patagonia in Argentina, which is breaking news right now, just so they could buy the land cheaper. Can you believe that? Go ahead, Julian.
Yeah. Next one. Okay, let me read the title since I'm pretty much going off the flow. Okay, reputation of Israel. Israel's reputation is down through the hill. Right now, the Israeli prime minister is a war criminal wanted by the ICC, the International Criminal Court, for committing a genocide towards the Palestinians. And if you think I'm lying, there's literally Holocaust scholars literally specifying that they are committing a genocide. And not just any scholars, yeah, literally Jewish Holocaust scholars that specify that what's happening in Gaza right now is a genocide. Okay, next one. Okay, and this one, me and Junior decided to add on because it's funny at the end of the day. Ali Khamenei is 86 years old, which makes him older than the state of Israel currently standing, which is 77 years old. Okay. And also, what
Let's
came
talk about the harsh reality, though. I know that was a joke, but let's get back to reality. Tell them the reality now.
okay, gang rape Palestinian prisoner. Okay, because Israel has a tendency of raping Palestinians in the whole prison cells that they hold Palestinians in.
Yep.
So with the whole ratio of Israelis being held hostage by the whole Palestinians on after October 7th, and also Israeli holding Palestinians in prison cells. What Israel decides to do with the Palestinians in prison cells is pretty much rape them and pretty much just treat them like shit. Overall, like, I'm sorry for the vulgar language, but it's true. Like, there was a video that came out the other day which Israeli soldiers were literally blocking off the view of Israelis raping a 14-year-old girl. How can that be justified?
Yep. And this guy was involved, by the way. Meir Ben Shitrit, he was the one who was prosecuted for this because he was the one doing the raping. And recently he was seen in a video laughing with Sar Ophir, who kidnapped and tortured and killed a Palestinian on October 7th. And they were laughing on video. Can you believe that? But before we go off, Israel shot a little girl, Hind Rajab, with 355 bullets. If you guys want to check out the movie, it's called The Voice of Hind Rajab. It's an amazing movie. If you're not pro-Palestine, that movie will make you pro-Palestine. But
and overall, the Israelis treat the Palestinians like crap. They live in apartheid with a two-tier justice system that it makes it harder for a Palestinian to get Israeli citizenship rather than an Israeli trying to get an own citizenship in Israel.
Yep.
Okay.
And 65% of Israelis support the right to rape prisoners. Okay. I mean, the harsh reality is you have 76 confirmed suicides, 2,100 attempted suicides, according to Rabbi Shmuley, but 0 Hamas suicides. You want to read this, Julian?
Read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. If anyone still asks who is more in the wrong, the answer is lies in the media of Israel.
In the minds of soldiers.
In the minds of soldiers themselves, Israeli troops are coming home psychologically shattered, that record numbers are taking their own lives or attempting to, not because of Hamas, but because deep down they know what they are doing is wrong. You do not experience moral collapse from defending your home. You experience it from destroying somebody else's. That is the difference between resistance and occupation.
Yep.
And then we're gonna go to the harsh reality truth.
And time.
Okay. Okay, fair.
We'll save this for after.
Fair. Yeah, it's fair.
We are going to switch it over. Thank you very much for that opening, and want to let you know, folks, if it's your first time here at Modern, I'm your host, Dr. James Coons. We are a fully neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. We hope you feel welcome no matter what walk of life you are from. Hit that subscribe button as we have many more debates coming up, including, as you can see at the bottom right of your screen, DebateCon 7. It's going to be amazing. Featuring Apostate Prophet, David Wood, Inspiring Philosophy, Mike Jones, Daniel Hakikachu, Jake, Muslim Metaphysician. It's going to be in Houston on Saturday, January 31st. If you haven't yet, grab your tickets now. We are expecting it to sell out. In other words, like no seats left. So grab them now before they're sold out. With that, we're going to kick it over. And by the way, that's linked in the description box. Check out that link, or I'm going to pin it at the top of the chat right now. We're going to kick it over to Isa for his opening. Thank you very much. The floor is all yours, Isa. Let me just double check that you're not muted.
Okay, here we go. We're going to try to go through this real fast. Okay. All right, so we're going to go through a brief historical context. Shalom, salam, shanti. Good to see you all. Peace to all. So we're going to go through a quick historical context, the evolution of nationalism, and the Israel-Hamas conflict. So we're going to go quickly through all of this. Okay. So the land before antiquity, multi-ethnic and multi-religious region. There's a tapestry of ethnic, religious groups coexisting under various empires, Jews, Christians, and Muslims who shared the land. There's been successive empires. This is an important thing to know, as opposed to a modern nation state. And this is the thing that we didn't have the absence. We didn't have modern nation states. We had the age of empires. So this is an interesting, important thing. So these concepts and terms were not exactly existing as we know it now. So we have the Ottoman rule from 1517 to 1917, which had a diverse local Arab population. And then we move into the rise of national movements from the late 1800s to 1917 with Jewish self-determination, which we have the response to European anti-Semitism. And that also then triggers the emergence of Arab nationalism and the impact of imperial decline and the influence of European nationalism. So we basically have these very important dates. 1917, we have the Balfour Declaration. We have the San Remo Conference that formalizes the British Mandate. The escalations of tensions leads to violent riots within Hebron and Safed, which marks the beginning of communal violence between Jews and Arabs. Then we see the Arab Revolt in 1936 that opposes the British rule and Jewish immigration, and that lasts for 3 years, which causes significant casualties on both sides. The UN proposes a partition plan. The Jewish leadership accepts it. The Arab leaders reject it, which then leads into the 5 Arab nations that invade Israel. So we have 1948, Israel declares independence. This is where we would see, depending on which side you're on, the War of Independence or the Nakba. So this is important to look at this. And as stated before, the Arab states invade. And then you have a refugee crisis that emerges. So this is important because Jordan is a part of this conversation. Jordan, becomes a part of the partitioned land. Then you have Egyptian control, and this impacts on Palestinian nationalism, which then leads to geopolitical tensions. Okay, so this leads to our 1967, our 6-Day War, and this drastically alters the geopolitical landscape. The rise of the PLO. This is important because this is the first organization, which was founded in 1964. Which we'll see Yasser Arafat and Fatah, as well as Marwan Barghouti. So it begins as a militant organization, then it shifts to diplomacy. Then we see Hamas emerging. Hamas established in 1987 during the first Intifada, which then represents a significant shift in Palestinian resistance movement grounded in Islamist ideology. It rejects the existence of Israel and advocates for armed struggle, marking a departure from previous diplomatic approaches. So this is important to look at PLO versus Hamas, that the PLO is secular and has diplomacy politics and is internationally recognized. It does have authoritarian leaning, but we could see on the other there's limited under PLO and it supports elections. Hamas has none of the above. Hamas is not just a resistance movement. Hamas is also a governmental organization. So it has a job that it's supposed to serve the Palestinians. In every space, it has failed. It has not done any governance, but we will look into that later. That is citations for that. I do have 2 other presentations, but I'm going to hand it off over to AP.
Ready for you, AP.
This is a very, very interesting concept. How many minutes do I have, James, right now?
11 and a half minutes.
11 and a half minutes. That's fantastic. So I apologize to everybody. It was me who was late, as always. Who is surprised by that? So I was a little bit late because I got the time zones wrong. However, now I'm finally here. So I'm a little bit... Not to be honest, I'm not disappointed. I expected this very much. But so let's get to a few things here, right? Let me share my screen here. My second screen. Is it on the screen now?
Yes.
Is it now? Yes, wonderful, fantastic. So there is a lot of stuff that the pro-Hamas side has said here that is just completely messed up. And in order to simply demonstrate how unreliable the other side is and how little reading they have done, I want to be charitable, I want to be kind, I want to be whatever it is, but this is a serious topic, and you have the other side coming in with complete nonsense. I would encourage them, Junior and Julian, to spend more time studying actual stuff than just simply repeating propaganda points. Now, there's something very funny to point out here. Junior, for example, said, and this is just one example of how unreliable this is. He said that that Israel began to use the word Hamas, although Hamas simply stands for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, which would normally be Hamai, but Hamas is a bad word in Hebrew, which is why Israel chose this word. That's complete nonsense. Here's the Hamas charter from 1988. It was Hamas themselves who chose the acronym Hamas for themselves. They chose their name. They put it out here. You can just search for this yourself. You can search Hamas Covenant 1988. You will even find here, if you search for it, this covenant of the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas. You will find this exactly like this, abbreviated in Arabic, and then points out their struggles. Now, there's of course a lot of interesting stuff here, but since we're talking about Hamas specifically, I want to come to my favorite part of the Hamas Charter. My favorite part of the Hamas Charter here is the following. Here in 1988, Hamas said the following: moreover, if the links have been distant from each other and if obstacles placed by those who are the lackeys of Zionism in the way of the fighters obstructed the continuation of the struggle, the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas, aspires to the realization of Allah's promise, no matter how long that should take. And now let's hear what that promise is. The promise is the following. The Prophet, Allah bless him and grant him salvation, has said, the day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews, kill the Jews, when the Jew will hide behind stones and trees. The stones and trees will say, O Muslim, O servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. Only the gargat tree, which is a random tree, evidently a certain kind of tree, as they also point out, would not do that because it is one of the trees of the Jews. This is Hamas. This is what Hamas stands for. Their ultimate goal is the full destruction and elimination and extermination of Jews. The charter further continues, I would encourage anyone who has any interest in this conflict at all to sit down and read this, read through this entire thing. You will be horrified if you actually think that Hamas is a resistance movement. Because what they also say here is that there is no greater pleasure than to kill and die for Allah. Our friends here also presented the typical warped history of things. For example, they made it look like there was this place called Palestine, there was this country called Palestine. This is a very, very popular image, which they themselves did not necessarily represent, but people still use because they think this is accurate. This whole thing never existed. There was never a state called Palestine. This state called Palestine was never invaded by Jews and taken over bit by bit. The history is as follows. Let me start from the very, very beginning. In fact, I did something very cute here. During our last debate, Junior accused me of using ChatGPT and using AI, and then I noticed that he was actually using AI. In fact, during his opening speech here, he used directly AI-written sentences, which was also very ironic. So I thought to myself, since I'm being accused of using AI by the guy who uses AI, let me just use AI to create a presentation of the history of the land. So I put in a request to create a presentation of the entire land from the beginning to the end. So Junior says that 5,000 to 7,000 years ago, there was Palestine. There was no such thing called Palestine. Palestine did not exist. He says there were Canaanites. All right, Canaanites have nothing to do with Palestine. Canaanites were people in the land who are also the ancestors of the Israelites, of the Hebrew people, and of many others who lived in that land, and from whom many of the cultural aspects of Middle Eastern cultures originate. The Palestinians were not around at any point here. There was a group called the Philistines, who were called Philistines because they were invaders, and that's a word for invasion. And they were called Philistines by the Egyptians and by the Israelites and by others. They arrived only in this area at around 1200 BC, around the same time that we first see Israel, the word Israel, inscribed on certain tablets. These Philistines were tiny invaders who were only at a little part where Gaza is approximately nowadays. And later, by 700 BC, were never again heard of. According to the Bible, they were defeated and they basically disappeared. That is the entire history of anything that comes close to Palestine. Nobody called it Palestine. Some Greeks and later on some Romans inspired by Greeks referred to that region, that coastal region, as Philistia, in reference to that's the place where the Philistines lived, because the Philistines were actually invaders who came across the sea from the Greek places, and they were therefore culturally familiar to the Greeks. It was only let's actually go further. So we have Rome here. Rome takes over this place. When Rome takes over this place where Jews are living to that day, where it is also called the Kingdom of Israel and later the Kingdom of Judah, when Rome takes over this place, they name the place where Jews live today as the province of Judea or Judea. Only later on, after the Bar Kokhba revolt in the 2nd century, did Rome decide to spite and to suppress Jewish identity, to rename this land, which was the province of Judea, into Syria Palestina. Syria Palestina, based simply on their fascination with Greek and the Greek habit of calling a certain part of that region Philistia, which would translate in Latin to Palestina. So they start calling it Palestina to suppress Jewish identity and to disconnect them from the land. However, Jews still continuously live in this land. At that point, there are no such thing as Palestinians. In fact, there never were such things as Palestinians. There was also never a state called the Palestinian state. Later on, so Junior made another claim here. He said that Arabs continuously lived in this land. Yes, Arabs did live in this land. Arabs lived in this land after the 7th century when the Arab Muslims invaded that land and conquered it and took it over. However, there were still no Palestinians. In fact, most Muslims throughout history did not really refer to that place officially as Palestine or Philistine or anything like that. The early Arabs referred to it as Jund Philistine, like military jurisdiction Philistine, because the Romans called it Palestina. That's all. The Ottomans themselves, who ruled that place for the longest time, never officially called that place Philistine. Can you believe it? They never officially called that place Philistine, despite the fact that they were Muslims and Turks. They referred to that place by different names and divided it into different territories. Only the British, when they took that place over from the Ottomans, began referring to that place once again as Palestine, based on the Roman habit of calling it Palestina. And their goal was to establish a homeland for Jews. Junior claimed that Jews only came there after the Second World War. That's complete nonsense. Or during the Second World War. That's complete nonsense. After the Second World War, or during the Second World War, the amount of Jews who came there as a result of persecution under Nazis were only a minority of Jews who lived there by the year 1948. Jews wanted a land where both sides can live in peace. That never worked out for the Arabs, because the Arabs were led by absolute monsters, like Hajj Amin al-Husseini, who also was an ally of Hitler, and whom Hitler promised the complete extermination of Jews in that land. Israel wanted to coexist with others. Arabs never wanted to coexist with them, because the Arabs were mostly Muslims who believed in their Prophet Muhammad, who said, "I will expel the Jews and the Christians from the Arabian Peninsula," who said, let there be curse by Allah upon the Jews and the Christians, for they have taken the graves of their apostles as places of worship. Today, the Palestinian Authority, this is directly from the Palestinian Authority from October 20th, 2023, the Palestinian Authority, supposedly secular, still preaches in their mosques this very narration by Muhammad, which is also in the Hamas charter, which says that eventually the time will come when we will exterminate the Jews. They cry victim, but they keep repeating these announcements of extermination again and again and again. Now, pro-Palestine guys like to claim that that there is some genocide going on. I just want to ask a very, very bold question. In fact, I asked this question when I went to Israel, and I talked to one of the former Israeli the IDF spokespeople. I said, "Hey, by every single evidence that we have, these guys want to genocide you. So what would necessarily be wrong with you in instead doing it to them?" The IDF former spokesman said to me, "Well, it's not what we do." And I thought, oh, okay, well, that's a good point. It's not what we do. The issue here is, however, Israel has no stated aim of genociding the Palestinians. Never had. You know who does have a stated aim of genociding the other side? The Palestinians. Hamas, the Palestinian Authority. They have always had it. They have it to this day. Only 2 years ago, and also prominently in 2018, the major Hamas spokesperson in Arabic in Gaza, Fatih Hamad, said very, very notoriously to the crowds during the peaceful March of Return, he said to them, the time will come when we will cleanse the land. It will come very soon when we will cleanse the land of the filth of the Jews. And then the second goal will be the establishment of the caliphate. That's what he said. In fact, Junior is making faces here. I'll find the video for the rebuttal section and play it for you, and then you can make that face again.
And we're close to the end. You
Okay.
finish that sentence.
There's much more to say about the history, but we will get to that in the rebuttal section because it is a disaster from their side.
We're going to jump into the 8-minute rebuttals indeed. Folks, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. We do appreciate your support, and that lets us know that you want more debates on these topics and with these folks. We're going to kick it over to Julian and Junior. You've got 8 minutes, so
Thank
about
you.
4 minutes per person.
Julian, if you can let me just take over for a bit, because I just want to read Article 16 from this document that was published by Hamas. You can clearly read here, if you guys can all see it. It says, Hamas affirms that its conflict is with the Zionist project, not with the Jews because of their religion. Hamas does not wage a struggle against the Jews because they are Jewish, but wages a struggle against the Zionists who occupy Palestine. Yet, it is the Zionists who constantly identify Judaism and the Jews with their own colonial project and illegal entity. Hamas rejects the persecution of any human being or the undermining of his and her right on nationalist, religious, or sectarian grounds. Hamas is of the view that the Jewish problem, anti-Semitism, and the persecution of Jews are fundamentally linked to European history and not to the history of the Arabs and the Muslims or to their heritage. The Zionist movement, which was able, with the help of Western powers, to occupy Palestine, is the most dangerous form of settlement occupation, which has already disappeared from much of the world and must disappear from Palestine. So this is it's called the Document of General Principles and Policies from Hamas. Okay? Then we have this document here that I was able to pull up that says, this was in 1988, okay, just to prove to you how Hamas is evolving its views and how its views were never how you described it. So in this 1988 charter, this is article, I believe, this is in the introduction. In Article 20, here, if I just pull it up, it's going to say the same thing I just said, but just in a different language. This is the Islamic spirit which ought to prevail in any Muslim society, a society which confronts a vicious, Nazi-like enemy who does not differentiate between man and woman, elder and young, ought to be the first to adorn itself with this Islamic spirit. Our enemy pursues the style of collective punishment, which I've proved that Israel is collectively punishing and that this is illegal under international law. Israel is collectively punishing Palestinians, right? And they're destroying properties and pursuing them into exile and places of assembly. It has resorted to breaking bones, opening fire on women and children, the old, with or without reason, and to setting up detention camps where thousands upon thousands are interred in inhuman conditions. In addition, it destroys houses, renders children orphans, and issues oppressive judgments against thousands of young people who spend the best years of their youth in the darkness of prisons. The Nazism of the Jews does not skip women and children. It scares everyone. They make war against people's livelihood, plunder their monies, and threaten their honor. In their horrible actions, they mistreat people like the most horrendous war criminals. Exiling people from their country is another way of killing them. As we face this misconduct, we have no escape from establishing social solidarity among the people, from confronting the enemy as one solid body, so that if one organ is hurt, the rest of the body will respond with alertness and fervor. I've said this many times. Hamas is just another resistance group. Yes, they may have stemmed from the Muslim Brotherhood. That's where they got their terrorist label. But they do not act like terrorists. Israel has this fake PR campaign like 40 beheaded babies, Hamas is raping our women and children. when in reality, every accusation from Israel is actually a confession. Whether they have evidence or not about Hamas doing this doesn't matter, because we have evidence that Israel is doing these things. We've shown you the evidence. Look, you're right, Isa. Hamas was founded in 1987, but Palestinian resistance didn't begin in 1987. My grandparents from Haifa and Nazareth in Palestine were resisting colonial control in 1917. You know, like their parents were resisting too. My family survived the mass expulsions of 1948. That's the only reason I'm alive. Palestinians resisted again when Israel occupied Gaza in 1967. Hamas didn't create this conflict. The conflict created Hamas. Israel created Hamas. When people are displaced, blockaded, denied rights for decades, resistance movements form. And there's hundreds of resistance groups in Palestine. There's 30 officially recognized ones, and Hamas is one of them. So you're going to say that Hamas is worse than Israel? Impossible. Because Israel is the one who created this conflict. Yes, the PLO is secular and internationally recognized. Palestinians tried that path for decades, bro. They negotiated, signed accords, did ceasefires. They recognized Israel's existence. And then what? And then what? What did they receive in return? More settlements, more walls, more checkpoints, more land taken, zero statehood. So when peaceful efforts fail, other movements rise. You can't reject diplomacy and then complain when people turn to armed resistance. And Hamas is a legitimate governing authority, whether anyone likes it or not. They won the 2006 Palestinian election. It was monitored by international observers, including Jimmy Carter. When the wrong side won, Gaza was punished with blockade, starvation, policies, and collective punishment. Democracy only counts if the results are respected, right? And Palestinians don't have to vote for the party that Israel prefers. Hamas's ideology is misrepresented on purpose. People wave around English PDFs like APIS. He says, Hamas existed in this English document. Hamas doesn't speak English. Hamas speaks Arabic. And Hamas in Arabic means Islamic resistance movement. In Hebrew, it's completely different. The word in Hebrew was used recently during the October 7 conflict. Like, the Hebrew word looks similar, but it means something else entirely. Arabic Hamas is not the same as Hebrew Hamas. So we already read the charter itself. I proved to you that the struggle of Hamas is not against Jews, which you guys have been constantly trying to prove during this debate. If occupation disappeared tomorrow, Hamas would be gone, like this. And if Hamas disappeared, the occupation will continue. So don't tell me Palestinians abandoned peace. Peace abandoned Palestine. So when oppressed people resist, it's not terrorism, it's literal survival. When you watch your parents get killed and you go pick up a gun and fight the person who killed them, that's not terrorism, that's survival. That's a survival instinct. To the person in their mind, that's not terrorism. To us, it might look like terrorism because it's unjustified, but to him, it's justified. If Palestinians aren't indigenous, who exactly survived there for thousands of years? You know, the funniest myth in this whole debate is that the idea that the people of ancient Palestine magically disappeared and these modern Palestinians, these Arabs from Jordan and whatever, just teleported in. Only someone desperate to erase Palestinian identity would pretend ancestry gets reset every time a people change faith or language. Italians didn't stop being Roman when they converted to Christianity. Egyptians didn't stop being pharaonic descendants when they speak Arabic. And Palestinians didn't stop being indigenous simply because their ancestors embraced Islam instead of staying pagan or Jewish or Christian forever. Identity evolves on the same land, in the same villages, through the same bloodlines. The only group in this conversation with proven massive recent migration is Zionist settlers who come from New York, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, Germany, France. Palestinians don't have a second passport to name because Palestine is their origin. That's what indigeneity means. The most embarrassing part for Zionists is that their own founders debunked their myth. Israel's first prime minister literally said that Palestinian Arabs are the descendants of this land. Your own prime minister said that. So I don't know what else you guys have to say, but you're cooked.
Juicy, to say the least. We will switch it over. I want to remind you folks, if you haven't yet, please do hit that like button. We appreciate that support. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button as we have many more juicy debates. And we'll kick it over to AP and Isa. The floor is all yours.
So I find one thing very funny, which is Junior acknowledges that he was actually lying about the name Hamas, but then he just kind of tries to explain it without actually admitting that he lied, that he made that up, which is very, very interesting. You know, we can literally find the document in Arabic and can read it also, and we can see that they called it Hamas there as well. He repeatedly represents or misrepresents the history of the region. He further makes the claim that the Jews came from America and this and this and that. I wonder if he knows that the majority of Jews in Israel today are not Ashkenazi Jews, meaning they are not of Western Northern European origin. The majority of Jews in Israel today are of Mizrahi and Sephardic origin, meaning they have nothing to do with those typical, stereotypical white, Polish, American, German, whatever Jews that you want to make this about. So that is a lie and complete nonsense. And if he knew anything about this, he would already know this. Now he said that because Hamas mentions at some point that their struggle is not with Jews, he says this therefore means that they are not against Jews. He also says that they're just called terrorists, but they are actually not called terrorists. All right, let's listen to Hamas themselves. Let me know if you hear this.
We don't hear anything. When you do hit share, you have to hit like a little button on the. So if you.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just read it from the screen. It's here anyway. Okay. So this is Fatih Hamad, who is the preferred and picked Arabic-speaking speaker of Hamas, who speaks directly to the Gazan population. So Hamas does this very, very nice trick with stupid Western people, where they publish something in English for the Western people to read, and then they speak to their own people in their own language. So here is them speaking in their own language, aside from all the publicity. This is from 2018. Here's Fatih Hamad. He says, all of the Palestinian people are prepared to explode. We built a suicide vest factory with thanks to God. We are ready to breach the fence. Actually, I kind of want to play the sound here just so Junior doesn't find another excuse and accuse me of just making this up and that he didn't actually say that. So let me share the sound here as well. All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm sure you can understand the Arabic here. Let's see.
أبناء شعبنا جاهزين للتفجير. عملنا مصنع جديد إن شاء الله تعالى في حالة دخول السلك. جاهزين أخواتنا كله جاهزات كلهن يحملنا أحزمة متفجرة في سبيل الله. بنفتح ثغرتين في كل مخيم. واصلين نطربق لما نصلكم. ستقتلون والله ستقتلون باذن الله سبحانه. شغلنا مصانع جديده للاحزمه شغاله. كل واحد مين بده حنصف على الدور حزام يلا. وانت اهل الضفه الغربيه الى متى تسكتون؟ بدنا السكاكين تطلع 5 شيكل. ركبه اليهودي حقها قديش عندنا 5.
How much does the throat of a Jew need to cost us? He incites the Palestinians in the West Bank to also join in the terrorism and to buy themselves a knife and cut the throat of a Jew. This is the Hamas that Junior here tries to defend as not terrorists. It further continues. However, there is also another video here that I want to briefly bring up in a second here. Just to give me one moment. Since we just talked about whether Hamas actually believes in eradicating the Jews or not, and Junior was using his usual attitude and just laughing about it. So let's have that right here, right? Let's see what Hamas themselves say about that kind of stuff. Right here.
في هذا اليوم وفي هذه التجليات بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى لنتطلع إلى أمرين مهمين نحن قاب قوسين أو أدنى منهما. أولا هو تنظيف فلسطين من دنس اليهود واستئصالهم بإذن الله، وهو قاب قوسين أو أدنى. 4 سنوات إخواننا 2022 بنكون خلصنا منهم. أما الأمر الثاني وهو إقامة الخلافة بعد أن تتعافى الأمة من سرطانها وهو اليهود بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. أنه لا يعني.
There you go. This is the Hamas appointed spokesperson speaking directly to the Arabs in Gaza, telling them, this was in 2018, in 4 years we will be ready, we will cleanse the land of the filth of the Jews, and once we are rid of the Jewish cancer, we will achieve our second goal, which is to re-establish the caliphate. This is one of the main reasons why I want to tell those people who don't care about the conflict, or those people who say, oh yeah, they're probably just resisting and all that. It's not just about Israel and Palestine, okay? This is about everything and everybody. These terrorists are Islamic terrorists. They are not very different from ISIS. Their ultimate goal is, according to their own speakers, according to their own appointed people, to establish the caliphate and restart the Islamic conquests, including slavery, the subjugation of all Jews and Christians, by the way, not just Jews, and all that. So everybody should help with all full force to oppose this. These two folks here are probably not even ready to announce to us that they actually support Hamas. I actually want them to ask the question: do you guys support Hamas? Do you have the guts to say that you support Hamas? Can you call yourselves supporters of Hamas? I invite you to do that if you think that your struggle is actually justified. Hamas is a terrorist organization. It took over the Gazan territory through an election, and I'm not going to say that it was a completely fake election. I am going to actually credit them for the election because, unfortunately, the Gazans are not innocent people. Most of them vote for terrorism. Most of them are for the Islamic terrorism. The West Bank is even worse. They are much more for Hamas and for Islamic terrorism. There is a sick Palestinianist problem here. And this problem was not started by Israel. The Israeli Zionist Jews came into the region to live together, according to all accounts, according to their own greatest thinkers, according to Theodor Herzl, who was the founder of the modern Zionist movement. His aim was to coexist and to live beautifully with the local Arabs and the Muslims. The Arabs did not want it. They had Hitler-like leaders who wanted the Jews dead. In 1948, the Jews said, we can live together in this land. The so-called Palestinians, the Arabs, did not accept it. Since then, they have been fighting and killing and fighting and killing and fighting and killing. And Israel has been left with nothing except to try and build a fence and build walls to defend themselves against this wave of terror. Despite that, Israel has been stupid, because Israel has been also giving these Palestinians the chances to come into Israel and to work there and to get citizenships. In my opinion, they should have rejected all of that. They should have not let a single person from those territories into the land of Israel. I think they should have a long time ago gotten rid of most of them and kicked them out somewhere and found a place to relocate them. You are dealing with a genocidal terrorist population. Hamas became powerful and popular in the beginning of this century because the Palestinian Authority was led by the PLO, a secularist organization which also initially wanted to eradicate the Jews, but which started making compromises of recognizing Israel and finding a proper solution. And Hamas said, this is treason, we will not allow this. The majority of the Palestinian population agreed with Hamas. This is why Hamas is as active today, because the majority of the Palestinian population supports Islamic terrorism. And then they cry victim, then they play the victim. Since 2005, Israel has been out of Gaza and gave them a chance to self-govern. What did they do with it? They elected Hamas, and Hamas immediately made the promise to take everything back, every compromise, to never recognize Israel and to continue until the Jews are eradicated and all the land belongs to them. Of course, Israel will not make peace with them. Israel tried, and in my opinion, Israel should never try again, because you can't trust these people.
With that, thank you very much. We're going to jump into it. So for the format tonight, we have those rebuttals, and then we're going to jump into the open dialogue. We'll have closings, which will be short. It'll only be 5 minutes, and then we'll have your Q&A. So if you happen to have questions for the Q&A, the way it works is fire them into the old live chat. You can tag me with @ModernDayDebate. Or if you'd like to make a comment instead of a question per se, if you use Super Chat, that gives you the option to do that, and it pushes your question or comment to the top of the list. With that, we're going to jump into the open dialogue. Gentlemen, the floor is all yours.
All right,
So
look.
I want to say sorry to Isa because I took most of his time.
Look.
So Isa, you can take over much of this and talk. I just asked the two pro-Hamas terrorists not to bully my friend Isa.
Look, Apis, I'm sorry for destroying your whole debate right now, but you just put one man who is a former interior minister, a political figure who does not speak for me or anyone, or anyone in Palestine.
He's a current speaker for Hamas.
He is not the head of Hamas. He's not a military commander. He's not an elected
leader.
Dude,
I said he's the current speaker for Hamas.
Dude, just because someone... Okay, let's look at Israeli spokespersons who have called Palestinians human animals. They call me subhuman. They call me poison, cancer.
Who said that?
Bro, a sitting Israeli minister right now literally suggested dropping a nuclear bomb on Gaza.
Who said that?
Ben Gavir.
Was he
no,
appointed
one
as a
second. One
spokesperson
second,
for
one second.
Israeli policy and military?
These are government decision makers in Israel whose
That's
words
not
are
what I
followed by
asked.
policy.
That's not
Okay.
what I asked.
So if rhetoric determines morality,
Is he responsible
if
for any
rhetoric-
military action?
if
Is he appointed
rhetoric-
as a spokesperson? No.
if rhetoric determines morality, Israel lost that argument 10 times over. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you
call
the
us-
question
you
again.
call us
The person who
subhumans.
said that, was he appointed as a speaker for Israeli policies? Does he have any power over Israeli military
Do
decisions?
you understand? Do you understand that Israel's
Answer my
government-
question, man.
Israel's government ministers openly call for genocide.
No.
Israel's government ministers.
Ministers
and they follow through with action.
ministers who have nothing to do, who have no authority at all in military actions.
One man's speech cannot justify mass murder, ethnic
Yes,
cleansing, or
it actually can. So
No, it
one
can't.
man speaks on behalf of
No, it
Hamas
can't.
because he's appointed by Hamas
He
as their
was-
official
He was
spokesperson.
immediately condemned.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. The only time he was condemned, was when he said that that people should go around and kill Jews everywhere in the world, where Hamas said, okay, we don't actually want to do that. In fact, when he said that West Bank people should pick up knives and kill a Jew, Hamas didn't say anything about it. They kept him as their spokesperson.
No matter-
So Hamas spokesperson says our goal is to eradicate the Jews, and that is okay.
Look.
An Israeli spokesperson has never ever said any such thing.
No matter what one Hamas official said, Israel has done far worse in action. They killed more civilians. They bombed hospitals and schools. They stole land. They imposed siege and famine.
When did they
blocked
steal
aid.
land?
They violated. Come on, man. Israel's built on stolen land.
Which land are you referring to? Which land is stolen?
Occupied Palestine.
Which part of it? Which part of it is occupied?
Look, Israel massacres and then Hamas comments. This is what you're complaining about.
Which part is occupied? Tell me which part
There's
is
no
occupied.
comparison, Apis. There's no comparison.
Which part is occupied? Can you tell me that?
The whole land, Al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, which is mentioned in the Quran. Who does it belong to?
So you believe
Who does it belong to?
that Israel has no right to a single ounce of the land. You believe any part of
Not after
of the land
after what it
all
did.
being
I'm
held.
sorry. I'm sorry. You have to go to court first and win that land back.
Oh,
You
really?
completely- in front of God, you have lost your right to that land.
In
You have completely lost
1948, in 1948, when
Jews
the land
reject you.
when the
Jews
land was
themselves reject
when the
you.
land was split between the Jews and the Arabs, do you think the Jews had any land to actually any right to actually hold
but
some of the
Apis,
land and rule it?
Why are you grouping all Jews with Israel right now? There's
Dude, can you just
millions
answer
of
my
Jews-
question? This has
There's
nothing to do with the
millions of
question.
Jews that hate Israel, that hate this argument.
Actually, the vast majority of Jews support Zionism. So the question here is again,
So why are Jews protesting against Israel?
you mean a few Jews? There are
No,
also Muslims
Orthodox
protesting
Jews.
also.
Every single Orthodox Jew that abides by the Torah has to go against Israel because
Dude, you
there's no
have
such
no
thing.
idea what you're talking about. The majority
There's
of
no
Orthodox
such
Jews,
thing
the majority
as
of
a
Orthodox
God-
Jews support Israel.
No, they don't, because
Yes, they
God's promised nation to the Jews that is not built on genocide, is not built on killing children, and that's what Israel's reputation is today. Maybe if you guys go to Argentina or South Africa, maybe you can get another chance there, but your chance
Oh
in
yeah,
Palestine is
that's
gone.
that's also a good thing. Good thing you bring up
cooked.
Argentina. So you bring up Argentina. You just claim that Israel or Zionists burned down Patagonia. Can you prove that? Can you tell me what you base
Absolutely.
that claim on?
Absolutely. Go
Can you
check
tell me
the,
what you base this claim on?
go check the Argentinian news.
Can
Go
you
look
tell
at
me
the
what you base
protests.
this claim on? Can you tell me
I have
what you base
made
this claim on? That
I
they
have
actually
made
burned it
over
down?
10 posts on X that got
I don't care
I
how many
think a
posts you
combined
made.
10
Can
million
you tell
impressions.
me? Can you tell me where the evidence is that that the place was burned by Jews or by Israelis?
You
or
want
by
me to play a
Zionists?
video for you right now?
No, tell me where you get that from. Tell me where the
there are
evidence is.
videos coming out from Argentinian news. I can literally play a video right now. I'll share my screen and play the video.
Is
If you
there
don't
a
want me to
video?
play the video,
Is
then tell
there
me you don't want me to
is
show
there a
you the video.
video that shows that it was actual that actually
Yes.
demonstrates that it was
Yes.
Israelis or Israel that burned that
Yes.
place down?
Yes, there was
Really?
there was a Jewish dude with a tiny hat who was caught by someone on the mountain, right? Making a fire, and there are Instagram stories of Jews in Patagonia with literal fuel canisters ready to burn this place down. And last year, no, actually
Really?
last
Can you show me?
month,
Can you show me that? Can you show me that
last
there's actually a
month-
Jew there?
yes, I'll show you right now. And
Okay.
last month, okay, I'm gonna turn off this background that I have to
Okay,
show you
wonderful.
the video on my phone of these
Wonderful.
Jews literally with a gas canister, okay,
Yeah.
ready to burn down this place, bro. You guys
Can-
wanted to burn down our.
Can you tell me where you got that video from and where it's actually from? Can you tell me that?
I mean, questioning the source is not going to change the fact. I hope you understand that. Like you're asking
There
me
is,
to
there
show
is no
you.
such fact.
There is, bro. Argentina is breaking out in protest against Zionism right now. Are you denying this? You're denying breaking news?
I don't care what
Let me
Argentina
show you.
does. There is no single piece of evidence that it was burnt down by
You're
Israel or
literally
by
denying
Zionists
this.
to take
This
their
is
land.
done by Jews, bro. This today was done by Jews. Like this is done by Jews. The entirety of Argentina is blaming Jews. Okay, so when you tell me that, oh, where's your proof that Jews did this? All you got to do is go on social media and check it. All you have to do is literally search Patagonia online, and you will see the biggest news channels
Oh, that's
telling
a
you
very,
that
very good
Israelis
source.
did this.
That's a very good
Israelis
source.
did this.
That's a very,
I
very
mean,
good source. So
you have- you have-
here is the
you have
actual
to
here is the
understand
actual
something.
official account about the
You have to
fires
understand.
in
Look,
the wildfires in Argentina. So the wildfires in Argentina were started as wildfires usually start. There is no single evidence that it was started by a specific person or by a specific group.
tell me, Apis, who would
Any
have-
analysis
who would have-
of the fires shows no sign that any specific person has actually instigated it or started.
who would have real
There is no
estate
single evidence of that at all. There is no such thing. This guy is completely making this up
No,
and
who
relying
has
on
real estate
conspiracy
interest?
theories from
I'm
X.
not making this up. People are protesting this because they actually believe that Jews are trying to
Dude,
burn down the land.
You
to buy cheaper.
believe that Muhammad is the prophet of Allah when he was a rapist pedophile. I don't care what people believe.
You
I care about
scapegoat
the evidence.
bro.
I
You
care about
can't
the
scapegoat.
evidence.
See, this is what you guys do. Zionists, when they lose a debate, they always go to the same insults. They always go to the same bullshit. And you got cooked in this debate. This is a fact, bro.
You know you have been
You got
insulting me since the
absolutely
beginning of this
cooked.
debate, so it's
I
kind of fine.
mopped the floor with you. Last time I ended your career, this time you allowed me to use you as a mop.
Dude, when you
okay?
if you ended my career, why am I still here?
Because your career is built in the bedroom. So you're still in the bedroom. You remained in the bedroom. You didn't leave your house. Can you leave your house now and walk proudly and say that you
Yes.
support Israel?
Yes.
You'll get people will spit on your face. You know why?
Yes.
Because
I walk around supporting Israel all the time.
No. Do you walk around? Where's the fuck Hamas shirt? What happened to that shirt?
I'm not wearing it today.
I enjoyed that shirt. You should wear it more often in public and see how people will react to that.
All right, so we are descending into complete childish nonsense now. So as said,
You're the one who started
any
this.
official account of the fires in Argentina shows no sign at all that it was started by Israel or by Jews. Junior here bases his theory that it was started by Jews on nothing except his own desire to blame the
broke
Jews
the story on
everything.
X. I broke the story.
Okay, yeah,
on
that's
X.
cool. That's cool. I'm
Okay?
very happy for you.
With
I'm
a
very happy for you.
video of a literal Jew starting a fire on the mountain.
Okay, guys, we're
You seem to have
pivoting
also
the
broken your
conversation.
brain at the same time.
This is a
fine.
good chance.
That's acceptable.
Issa has been wanting to jump in. Go ahead, Issa.
Well, I have a question to our friends on the pro-Hamas side. What do you feel about the Tufan al-Aqsa or the Al-Aqsa flood? Because this is really the kind of the key to what is happening now. So in this incident, if we're using this term genocide, they basically killed everyone they came across, including Muslim people. They killed Muslim Palestinian citizens of Israel. So they killed Thai people, they killed children, they killed a baby, ultimately speaking. Like, how would that be justified as a resistance movement? You know,
nobody's justifying that the Muslim Brotherhood is a resistance movement, because the biggest amount of victims of the Muslim Brotherhood are Muslims themselves. If I was in a Muslim Brotherhood controlled country, I would be targeted because I'm not extremist.
What are you talking about? The question was about Hamas and their attack on October 7th.
No, but you have to understand, we already established that Hamas originated from the Muslim Brotherhood ideology. You understand that? This idea that the Muslim Brotherhood targets people and is evil, we know that. We know that. Muslims are the biggest victims of the Muslim Brotherhood. This is a fact. 90% of Muslim Brotherhood victims are Muslims themselves.
I don't understand what is being said here. So do you support Hamas or no?
Dude, what does this
as a resistance movement, yes.
What?
As a resistance movement, yes, I do support Hamas. But if you do want, Yes.
But Junior just said
Okay.
that. But Junior just
You're
said that
just
they're
trying
not
to
resistant.
you're trying to get me
okay.
arrested, right? You're trying
No,
to get me
no,
arrested.
because Isa just asked the question, what do you guys think about the Tufan al-Aqsa, the October 7 terrorist attack? And then you went into a whole rant about how the Muslim Brotherhood is not resistance. Or what I don't even get
Okay,
it.
my thing about the
October-
Masjid al-Aqsa flood is that if you're going to destroy a holy site from a particular religion, expect resistance from that set of religion. It's an obvious fact.
Look,
If the Jews are gonna destroy Masjid al-Aqsa, the third most holiest site in Islam, expect some form of resistance from the Palestinians. It's just
Where did you get the idea that the Jews were destroying the Masjid al-Aqsa?
Because it's part of their religion for the end of times.
So you mean Jews in general have an aim to destroy the Masjid al-Aqsa? So
Yes,
Jews-
as a religious sect,
problem.
yes.
Jews have already been attacking Muslims in Al-Aqsa.
So
This
wait,
has already been
thought,
happening.
wait a minute. I thought this is not about Jews. I thought Jews are completely
But
just. Jews have
why
a-
are you
Jews have a
now
very just system and
scapegoating?
it's just
I could pivot
Zionism.
towards that argument if you want me to.
Go ahead.
But can you just answer Isa's question here? Because Isa asked what you guys think about the October 7 terrorist attack, and then Junior, you went into some weird rant.
Why is it now labeled? Why is it not labeled as an inside job by Israel? Why don't you label it as that?
Because Hamas themselves openly admitted to doing everything. What are you doing?
Where was
To be honest, under
Israel's
my
army
point,
for 7 hours?
I don't believe
Where
in the
was-
whole stand down order. I don't.
Where was Israel's army for 7 hours? Where
Israel's
the
army
border
was
control?
Israel's army was
Why was the border left unprotected for Hamas?
Israel's-
Junior,
I
let's
talked about this
concede here.
very thing as
It was
well.
the day of
One sec,
Shabbat,
just to be
though.
sure we can hear, there's like 3 people talking. Really quick, just wanted to reset it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Apis. Answer
Why
the
are
question.
you asking me counter questions?
Where
I'm
was the
asking
border
you.
patrol?
I'm asking you. Isa just asked you what you think about the October 7 terrorist attack, and you haven't answered the question. So can you please answer?
Why does my opinion matter?
Because it's a debate. Why? If your opinion doesn't matter, then
It
get out of
does.
here, man.
Okay, so when I asked my first debate opponent about his opinions, everyone laughed at me. Now you're asking me for my opinions on this?
You are here because you
Facts
have
matter, not
opinions,
opinions.
apparently.
When the lives of children and women are at stake, my opinions don't matter. The facts matter.
Okay, so you
Fact
don't have
is,
any opinions on October 7 then?
Israel did October 7. It's an inside job. Do you not
Yeah,
know
right,
about the Hannibal
right.
Directive? Do you not know
Yeah,
about the
that's
helicopters?
completely debunked.
not
Every
know-
single
It is
humanitarian
true, bro. It
organization
is
that you
true.
appeal
This
to,
is fact.
It is true. The Hannibal Directive
every
was
single humanitarian
enabled on
organization that you
October
appeal
7.
to
The
has
Hannibal
already
Directive-
established and has already established and
bro.
said and
You're getting
confirmed
cooked.
that Hamas did kill over 1,000 people on October 7,
Okay, then that is a fact.
including rapes and so on.
Mm,
Every
the
single
rapes were nonsense.
every single
The rapes were
humanitarian
nonsense and the-
every
the-
single humanitarian
40 beheaded
organization
Vegas
that
were
you would
nonsense.
appeal to has already confirmed this. So who exactly do you appeal to here as authority on this?
I appeal to facts, okay? Not
Yeah, okay,
not
okay,
authorities
facts.
that appeal to Jews and Zionists. I appeal to facts because the real Orthodox Jews that I know rely on my truth, rely on me speaking the truth, because
Good luck with that.
that is
Good
where
luck
their
with that.
safety lies upon.
Good luck
It
with
doesn't
that.
lie upon Israel's sovereignty. You think that Israel as a state is the safety of the Jews, but Jews have been unsafe ever since Israel was established. You guys destroyed
And
the
why have
reputation
they
of
been
Jews.
unsafe?
Because of Israel's war crimes that have been documented online and published.
Really,
to the
who
public to
started
see it.
the first war between Israel and the Palestinian side?
What war,
Who
dude?
started the
It
first
started
war?
as an
The Israelis. The Israelis, ever since they colonized
started as an
back in
occupation.
1948
in
with the
1940,
Nakba.
in 1947 and 1948, who started the war?
When you occupy a
The
land, you're
Israelis.
declaring war.
It's an obvious fact. If you're gonna displace 700,000 Palestinians via the Nakba, they started the war.
All right. So here we go again into complete brain rot history. So the Nakba, which is what
700,000 Palestinians
which is what
displaced.
pro-Palestinians refer to, is the
Wait.
expulsion and the fleeing of Arabs from certain regions in Israel. So
Apex, you're about to get
here is what the
cooked.
pro-Palestine side never tells you about this whole Nakba situation. The Nakba is actually part of the 1947 and 1948 war, which was started by the Arab side. The Arab side, the so-called Palestinian Arabs and the surrounding Arab countries decided to utilize together and to reject any claim to a two-state solution and to completely attack Israel in an extermination war. During this extermination war, every single historian who has dealt with this will confirm this to you in their books, which I can cite to you extensively, will tell you that during this period, about over 350 or 400,000 Palestinian Arabs left on their own accord or because they were instructed to or under pressure the lands. thousands, while many others, maybe hundreds of thousands, were also sent away or directly kicked out of their territories by Israel during the war. Now, in my opinion, this doesn't even matter. In my opinion, Israel would be completely justified to kick out 700,000 Arabs during this period. Why? Because it was the Arab side themselves who started a war against Israel in an attempt to exterminate them. Why in the fuck would I care about the expulsion of Arabs here?
Oh, let me ask you this. Why do you even care about this? Because you want to see the destruction of Muslims. You would be happy
cool.
if Al-Aqsa
Let's
Mosque is
ignore
destroyed.
everything I just said. Let's just ignore the history I just broke down. You guys have no idea what you're talking about. You have no knowledge of history that you guys yourself support.
Can I please ask you a very, very important question?
Go ahead.
Do you support the third temple being built on the ruins of Al-Aqsa Mosque?
I do not care. I have no opinion on that.
You don't now suddenly you don't care.
That just shows
I don't care.
opinion on giving a what on October 7th.
So what's the point of choosing Israel as a land for the Jews? Go to Argentina, go to Zimbabwe,
if it
go to
was me,
South Africa.
I have no problem with them building it, but I also don't really care. I'm not invested in it. So what's the problem?
So you don't
You
have
should
a
be invested
problem.
in it.
You don't have a problem with them destroying Al-Aqsa Mosque?
I don't care about the Al-Aqsa Mosque. It is an abomination that was built on top of the holiest site for Jews by Muslims after the conquest of the region. Why would I care about it?
So you can't claim to want peace while planning to destroy another religion's holy site. And that's what Israel's claim is.
Exactly.
Israel's claim is that they're peacemakers. That's what they say. That's what Netanyahu and Donald Trump say. That's what the
I would say that
Zionists
the major the biggest concern for Zionists or for Israel is actually safety for themselves, because that's the one thing that they can't have with terrorists attacking them all the time.
They should if Jews want to be safe. Wait. If Jews want to be safe, then they should do these three things. If Jews want to be safe, disassociate yourself from Israel, okay, completely. Never talk about it, ever. Don't tell people you're Israeli, you're Jewish, if you want to be safe. The second thing is you should ally with Muslim Palestinians and Christians and Orthodox Jews that are anti-Zionism. And number three, you should stop watching AP's content, because AP is a hardcore Zionist that gets paid $7,000 checks from Netanyahu.
Can you prove that?
Every time he opens his mouth and says the word Israel, he gets paid. He monetizes.
You must be full on retarded if you actually
I'm
believe
not
that
retarded. I
Israel
know
pays
the
people
fact.
$7,000 for opening.
When's the last time you visited Israel, Apis? Tell us about your Israel trip.
It was about, what was that, 3 months ago?
3 months?
3 months ago, yeah.
It wasn't even a year. So you
was 3 months
just
ago.
went to Israel. You just came back fresh with fresh hasbara,
Yes.
and you got I mopped the floor with you, even though you went to Israel 3 months ago.
Yes, you know what I did there? I talked to Jews, I talked to Israeli spokespeople, I talked to IDF spokespeople, I also talked to Palestinian Arabs, including to Palestinian Christians and even Palestinian Muslims, and I took everyone's opinion on the matter.
Did you spit in their face?
I listened to everybody. No, I didn't. I actually listened to them. I also recorded some of them who did say, yeah, we actually do have some problems. Israel does do some things wrong. And I thought, okay, fair enough. I will publish this. I'm still publishing that. However, here is the issue. So you're making wrong claims. Now you're making also claims that I'm being paid $7,000 by Netanyahu. Of course, you would believe such things because you have no idea of what is and is not real. You believe in completely fantasy things. I also have a challenge for you. I would say if you as Muslims want to be safe, you should distance yourselves from Islam. How does that sound?
We are very safe. We are 2.4 billion people on the planet.
Well, maybe in the future,
you're 16 million. What's the population of Israel? 16 million? How many people do you have in the IDF?
I'm not Israel. I'm not Israel.
So why are you debating for Israel? I'm Palestinian. I'm debating for Palestine. Why are you debating for Israel?
I'm speaking on a global level. You just made a very bold statement. If Jews want to be safe, they should distance themselves from Israel. So I want to tell you, if you as Muslims globally want to be safe, you should distance yourselves from Islam. Very easy.
That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, if Jews want to be safe, they should distance themselves from Judaism.
Okay, fantastic. Are you happy now?
Look,
what a stupid thing to say, man.
You are literally the worst representative for Israel. They should cut your checks.
You just conceded.
Cut the funding, bro.
You just conceded that the Palestinian Arabs were actually the ones who started the fighting in 1947 and 1948. They had no business starting the fight. The Israelis were the ones who wanted to live with a two-state solution.
They already lived there. They lived there before World War II.
All right, the Jews also did. Who started that? Yes, they did. Who started the war of 1948? Yes, they did.
But at a micro level.
Who started the war of 1948? I want to ask you again.
Israel started the Nakba.
False.
You understand?
False. Therefore, you
You
can't trust anything
understand?
these guys are saying.
Israel did the Nakba.
Any
So
person
I have a question to
who has
ask.
any clue of history will tell you that it was the Arab side
Your
who started
brain
the
is
war.
melting, Apis. You're literally melting on the spot right now, bro. You
Cool.
can't even prove that Israel has the right to exist.
You know
let
what's
alone
really funny?
Who's worse, Hamas or Israel? You
Junior,
have failed.
I want to tell you something. You know what's really funny? A really funny feeling is that when
This
when
is not
somebody
funny. You're about to get defunded.
when
They're
somebody
about to
who has
start
like
cutting your
when
funding.
somebody who is like 50 IQ points below you tells you that you're stupid, that's a really funny feeling. You will
What's
never
your IQ?
experience
Your
that.
IQ is
You will never experience
199.
that.
You have a
You will never
200
experience
IQ.
that.
You
You
have a
think you have
200 IQ.
I
you
don't-
actually think
just,
you have an IQ of 140,
redirect.
dude.
Your IQ is 200.
So I have a question
You have a
about
200 IQ, Apis.
When a stupid person tells you that you're stupid, that's the funniest thing, man. Really,
So-
you will
so
never
I
You have
experience
a
that.
200 IQ.
Go ahead, Isa.
So I have a question about
That's a
the
bold
Nakba
claim,
or the
man.
War of Independence. How do you feel about in the narrative about the 5 Arab nations that invaded Israel? Like, how do you feel about that particular situation? Because what AP was saying is this seems like a campaign of extermination. Why would 5 nations that are kind of independent, doing their own kind of thing, come and invade Israel after 1948? What is
Okay,
your feeling and position on that?
My feeling on the issue is pretty much simple. I'm going to concede here by saying that the Arab nations don't want Israel there, to be honest. Israel doesn't really belong there.
Thank you. Thank you. Finally.
I am going to concede there. Israel doesn't really belong there.
Finally, thank you. So there is actually no peaceful solution here. You just want Israel to be exterminated.
You
so
never
you agree
wanted
with
peace
Hamas.
to begin with.
You
Yes,
agree
you
with
never
Hamas.
wanted
Goal is
peace to
not
begin
peace.
with. You want to colonize the whole land. You want the whole greater Israel project
Interesting.
your own self.
You
You
said
want the whole greater Israel
you said you
project
want
your
to
own
kick us out.
self.
You said you want to
Interesting.
kick us out.
So
You
you
said that.
support Hamas, and you also agree that Israel should have no right to
You
exist and
said-
should be exterminated.
We never said that.
Fantastic.
Don't put words in
Wow.
our mouth.
Uh,
You said
I
you want to
said
kick
You
us
that.
just
out.
said it, man.
You
I
said
said
you want to
that.
displace us. You said you want to ethnically cleanse us. You
Dude,
said that.
I will
Apis.
tell you one thing. I will tell you one thing. With this attitude,
You're a
I really,
genocider, bro.
I really genuinely wish you good luck, because from the very
You're a
beginning,
genocider,
Israel has been all about coexisting, and the other stupid side has always been about no, we don't want to coexist. We want to fight and take everything.
So
Good luck with that.
why would you starve a population that you're trying
Good
to
luck with
coexist
that, dude. Good
Why
luck.
would you literally
The whole thing is that
call the entire
Israel's
population
oppressing the
subhuman?
Palestinians. That's the whole memo. Israel's oppressing the Palestinians to expect some form of resistance.
So you think if the Palestinians never took up weapons and fought against Israel, you think Israel would just randomly starve them?
Yes, they would murder every single Palestinian and kick them out.
Yes, because that's part of their whole religious scripture.
Exactly.
In 1948,
They view the Palestinians like subhuman.
In 1948, the Israeli parliament actually came together and made their final decisions on establishing their state. One of the concerns was, what should the modern state of Israel be called on the international stage? Should it be called a different name in English, or should it simply be called Land of Israel? Eventually, they decided to go with Land of Israel. But if we read the documentation, we can see that one of the major concerns that they had was, maybe we should call it Palestine, because we were referred to as Palestinian Jews here. But then the counter argument to that was, if we call it Palestine, our Arab neighbors might also decide at some point to create their own Arab nation and call it Palestine, and that would be conflicting, so therefore we should not do it. At that point, the Israelis were completely on board with accepting any Arab person within their own territories to simply live with them and become full citizens. You know who did not want this? The Arab side. They have been fighting ever since. If Palestinian Arabs stopped the fighting and never had any single declaration of war, there would be no such claim to genocide, nor starvation, nor anything. Israel would have no excuse at all this entire time to go and destroy places or kill people. It is the Palestinian population inside that always wants to fight and fight and fight. And here we have it already. Both of you, I can tell both of you, don't believe that Israel should have a right to exist. You both believe in the extermination of them. So
why should a criminal
admit,
have the right to
why in the
exist?
world?
I just
Why
don't
in
believe
the world?
Why should the
Why in the
IDF?
world?
Hold on one sec. Okay, one sec. Julian and Junior, you guys are speaking over each other. I just want to be
Julian,
sure
one
that we
second.
hear.
Just let me respond. Just let me respond, because my mic
That's
isn't
what they do,
even
man. They will
clear.
fight each other and kill each other as soon as possible.
My mic is not even that clear. Okay, so let me just finish. You don't want coexistence because you want to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque. If you want coexistence, leave it standing. But it's an eyesore for you. It's an eyesore, so you want to destroy our religious holy site. This is what you call wanting peace and coexistence? I'm sorry, bro. Israel would not exist if they weren't trying to build the third temple in Jerusalem. Okay? Israel is literally only built to usher in the end times and destroy humanity. That is the reason this country and terrorist state exists.
You know how
That has
stupid this
no
is?
right to exist in a place that wants to live, that wants to thrive, that wants to build. And that is the goal of the Middle East, is to become rich and wealthy nations that can serve the earth and that can provide value.
So both of you
Israel's-
guys just admitted that
Israel's only
Israel
goal-
should not exist, and
Stop-
that Israel has
stop
no right to
scapegoating.
exist in any of these places.
I
So
said that.
you
James.
both just
I said
agreed that
that.
Israel has no
James,
right to
I keep
exist.
getting cut off.
But
I
then you
can't- I
also
can't
want to
even
have
speak.
peace with it.
Let's
I can't
break
even
it into
speak.
one.
How do you have
let's break
peace
it
with a
into
state
one-
that should not exist?
I
1
can't even
minute
speak.
segments. We're gonna break it into 1 minute segments. We'll give you a full 1 minute to respond uninterrupted, Junior.
Thank you. Thank you. I literally can't even speak because my mic is from my laptop and everyone's just speaking over me. Israel has been built to usher in the end times. The Zionists of today that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s believe that they are going to get an eternal reward from God if they usher in the true Messiah, who is not Jesus Christ. Apis is a Christian. He believes Jesus is the true Messiah. I am a Muslim. I believe Jesus is the true Messiah. Why is he defending Jews who say that Jesus is not the true Messiah? Why is he defending the Jews who read the Talmud, who says that Yeshua is burning in boiling excrement in hell? Why? Why do you defend these people, Apis? I understand that there are Orthodox Jews that don't read the Talmud. There are Orthodox Jews that don't believe in Zionism. There are Orthodox Jews. Hold up, Julian, because they can't hear me when you speak. Orthodox Jews that are my friends that support Palestine and want to visit Palestine and want to visit the Al-Aqsa Mosque. You, on the other hand, want to destroy the Aqsa Mosque and want to see the third temple rebuilt and want to sacrifice the red heifer cows so that your Messiah comes, so that your God can give you your reward. Guess what? Your God is Satan.
And time.
Your God is Satan.
We'll kick it over.
So I recently went to Israel. As said, I actually went to Israel because I wanted to go to Israel, and they were kind enough to accommodate me. And I talked to multiple people, including people in charge of the Temple Mount, people in charge of multiple different places. I asked them the question. We also recorded everything. Some of it we published on Tommy Robinson's channel. Some of it is elsewhere. I will also bring it forth soon. These people have no reason to give you any wrong picture. They are already in charge of the Temple Mount and could technically do whatever they want to do. What they actually believe in, even the hardcore religious right Zionists, is that everybody of all backgrounds should be able to visit the Temple Mount. But they also believe that Christians and Jews specifically should be able to visit the Temple Mount, but Muslims have a big problem with this. They do, however, the religious ones specifically do not think that the Al-Aqsa Mosque or specifically the Golden Dome should exist. They don't believe that it is a sacred thing. They believe that it is an abomination built on their holy site. However, they have no idea, no such idea of exclusion of other religions. They actually openly and clearly say and believe in accommodating everybody, that everybody should be able to come to the Temple Mount. You know who doesn't believe that? Muslims. Muslims think that nobody except Muslims should be allowed to go on the Temple Mount. Muslims for 1,000 years did not allow Jews and Christians to go on the Temple Mount. It's Israel that forced them to actually allow people of different faiths to once again go on there. And right now, Jews and Christians are forbidden from praying on the Temple Mount. Only Muslims are allowed to pray there. So Muslims have this exclusionist system, but then they always accuse the Jews and the Israelis and the Zionists of having the very exact same mindset that they have. Junior says that they want to bring about the Messiah. The majority of Jews, when asked in a recent poll, don't really necessarily believe in the end time things and don't really expect a Messiah. So whatever, man.
Time. We'll kick it back over. Son of a...
This is you going to Israel, and this is Netanyahu giving you a $7,000 check. He opened a banana for you.
Okay, Junior. Let's keep this debate formal.
Put it in your mouth. You understand?
Okay.
This is your Israel trip summary right here. You put it in your mouth and make sure you're eating. Matrix.
You see this, right? This is how it always goes. The pro-Palestine
Okay.
side and the Palestine side, when faced with any kind of correction or information, they choose to instead not listen and to become children, and then to blow themselves
Okay.
up as children.
I wasn't becoming the children. I didn't do that crap. Okay.
Well, you're not a Palestinian.
Like
So.
in all fairness, okay. But
Okay,
one of my
sure.
main arguments, but one of my main arguments towards you, Apostate Prophet, is one of the reasons why October 7th happened was because Israel was going to destroy the Iron Dome. So how can you not?
The
No,
Iron
not the
Dome?
Iron Dome, not the Iron Dome. Masjid al-Aqsa. That's what I meant to say. My bad.
Can you give me
That's
evidence for that?
because it's part of their holy scripture.
So I wanted to ask a question about that.
Can you give me evidence that Israel actually wanted to destroy the Golden Dome?
Yes, because they wanted to weaken it from the bottom for it to destroy itself naturally. And also, when the Muslims ask for the renovation of that mosque because it's getting old, they refuse it on repeat. So they
That is a Hamas conspiracy theory. What
it's
Israel
not a
is
conspiracy
actually
theory, it's a fact. It comes from the times of Israel.
What Israel is actually doing there is that they are doing archaeology, and I've actually been under the Temple Mount. It is fantastic, the archaeology and the history that they have uncovered. Hamas accuses Israel frequently of only digging there to weaken the place and to make it collapse. Jews would be horrified of making that place collapse. Are you people retarded or something? I asked you for a question. I asked you for evidence. Where do you get the evidence that Israel actually wanted to destroy the temple, the Golden Dome? Can you give me the evidence instead of just talking about what they want to do and what they believe in? All that.
And I wanted to add one thing. So if Israel's goal was to destroy Al-Aqsa, the Masjid Al-Aqsa, then why would it, after 1967, work with Jordan and allow Jordan to have a waqf over the land? Why would it allow for the situation, being that this is like the holiest site for Jewish people, to kind of give up that space of being able to even visit the site, where only Muslims can enter the site at most times? That seems like a really huge thing to do. If Jews really wanted to destroy Al-Aqsa, why even have this agreement with Jordan? I think this is an important question to consider.
Good point.
Look, when you have nukes, it's easy to make everyone agree with you, right? Because you just threaten to nuke them. And that's what Israel's doing behind closed doors.
How does it make sense in response to the question that he said?
You don't know that Israel has a Samson option with nukes pointed at these countries.
Were you even just
pointed at
listening? What are you
America.
responding to, man?
Listen, Israel has nukes pointed at America. All right? Israel has.
So they can do whatever they want without any fear.
Israel literally tricked all the Arabs, okay, into diplomacy and all this while they secretly built 80 nukes. 80 nukes.
So
And
Israel
the
can
day
do
that-
whatever they want. However, they decided to give control over
The
Temple
day-
Mount to Jordan. Okay.
The
right.
day, what
Makes
control?
complete sense, man.
What control? Is Jordanian military there? Go ahead, leave. Leave so I can actually have a conversation with a actual human being, not a monkey who went to Israel and got fed bananas by Netanyahu. If you're gonna eat bananas from Netanyahu, at least enjoy it. At least convert to Judaism. At least suck his dick. Be like Cam Higbee,
Isa, any
who sucked him
thoughts?
off in his back office.
What are your
So
thoughts, Isa?
you're right. There isn't Jordanian military, but there is a Jordanian officer that's there to check if people are Muslim or not. And the Israeli officials do check and see if Muslims are coming to Al-Aqsa. So you don't think that there's like a kind of a preservation at this space for Muslims to
Bro,
enter the site?
It's like damage control, right? As they build the nukes, as they deal with all this PR disaster nightmare.
So I can actually give you a real life example of it. So Junior just asked me what happened when I went to Israel. So when I went to Israel, I went on the Temple Mount to take a little
We
tour
know
with-
what happened.
with-
We
with
just
Tommy
saw
Robinson,
a demonstration. I just
with
showed
Tommy
you a
Robinson
demonstration.
and other people. So I went to the Temple Mount.
Let me bring the
we
monkey
went,
back.
we went to the Temple Mount. We went onto the holy sacred side where Jews are, which Jews revere in very holy ways, where they don't actually take any steps because it is too holy for anyone to make steps on there, right? I went on there. I put up my camera. As soon as I put up my camera, people from the Jordanian Waqf, whom Israel authorized to actually have control over the place, came over to me and said, "Hey, no filming, no filming. Are you Muslim? Are you Muslim? No filming." I was like, what do you mean no filming? There's no such rule, man. I can just film here. Like, no more Muslim, only Muslims, only Muslims. Subscribe to only Muslims. So they said only Muslims can film. So we had a big argument, and eventually some security guy from the Jordanian Waqf, who is appointed by Israel as authority over who can and cannot approach the Golden Dome and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, forced me to go away and to dismantle my camera and to walk away. So Junior here says that Israel can do whatever they want. They threaten the world. However, what Israel actually does is, despite their own Jewish population so badly wanting to be on the Temple Mount, they give control over the Temple Mount to Jordan, which says only Muslim, only Muslims, only Muslim. If you're not Muslim, go away. If you're not Muslim, go away. How in the world does it even make sense, man? With what logic does that even make sense? I swear, I don't want to insult you, but this is just so ridiculously stupid, you know? This is not a serious conversation in any way.
This is if you guys, well, why don't we jump into the Q&A? This has been an interesting conversation, to say the least. Got a couple of
ending arguments after the Q&A.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry about that. There are 5-minute closings. So I want to,
closings.
As we started with Junior and Julian and
I'll
Junior
give it to
Stuffed
Isa.
Animal, we will go to their closing. You have 5 minutes between the three of you. The floor is all yours.
Okay, so I actually want to share another presentation that I had.
Oh, well, let me remember though, wasn't it? But we started with Julian and Junior. So usually we just keep the order. If you guys really want to swap the order, we can, but...
Oh, no, it's fine. They can go first. That's
okay.
Cool.
Go ahead, Julian or
And
Junior or Stuffed Monkey.
It's fine. It's Kabir and Ridvan Admir. It's fine. You guys could go first. We went first, so you guys could go first.
That's very kind of you, Julian. Thank you.
Yes, although you have me blocked, it's funny. Okay, I'm letting you go first.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Okay, just give me a second. Just want to pull this up because I think this is a good closing right here. All right. Okay. Let me share the screen. So I had actually another presentation too for talking more about Hamas, but I think this is a good closer right here. All right, Israel versus Hamas, governance rights and human development. So this is an important side-by-side to looking at what Israel does as a government versus what Hamas does as a government. Because the point is, we hear Hamas as being called a resistance movement. Hamas is also claiming that it's a government movement. This is something that we've stated in the beginning, and it continues now. It ran for an election. It is a political party. So it has a job to do. So now we have to see how it stacks up and is compared to Israel. All right. So we're going to do an analytical comparison between the governing systems of Israel and Hamas, and focusing on the areas of governance such as healthcare systems, mental health provisions, and democratic practices, minority rights, freedom of speech, and advancements in environmental technology, as well as technology overall. Most of the technology that we have around the globe comes from Israel. It doesn't come from Hamas. So that's a very important distinction. A lot of our stuff that's in our cell phones, a lot of this stuff comes from Israel. So Hamas's job as a government has not really been able to kind of do that. So we're going to do a clean distinguishment between Israel and Hamas, and highlighting the implications if they're both were to govern Israel or Palestine. However, if Hamas was successful and created the Palestinian state, what that would look like. So Israel is a sovereign nation state that was established in 1948. It has a parliamentary democracy, and it's characterized by the rule of law and independent judiciary. The country conducts regular elections, embraces multiple political parties, as well as different ethnic political parties. So there's Arab political parties, Palestinian political parties that exists within Israel. I'm not sure that would actually happen in a Hamas government. So I think that's important to consider. What's Hamas? It was founded in 1987. It is governed in Gaza Strip through 2007 until now. It's had one election. That doesn't seem very democratic. This is something that was going to be discussed before, but Hamas has 3 branches. So its military branch is Izzadin al-Qassam brigades, and it's done a lot of problematic elements. So putting them side by side, Israel is a democratic framework. Hamas is an authoritarian regime. Israel's healthcare system has a universal healthcare system for its citizens that ensures access to advanced hospitals and emergency care. There are places like Yad Sarah, which gives, access to medical equipment for free for the citizens of Israel. Hamas's healthcare system, well, it's really lacking. It's really been focusing on military might and not really the rights for the Palestinian people. And I think that's the biggest key. If you are the governing body of Palestine, then you've got to serve your people. You have to serve the Palestinian people, and that's not really been done. Israel has a comprehensive mental health care system, and it's a part of its public health system. It provides PTSD treatment for civilians and soldiers. It has school-based counseling, crisis hotlines, suicide prevention programs. Hamas has no established element of mental health framework, and the trauma among the population remains largely unaddressed. And the psychological distress is often politicized or ignored. This is deeply problematic. Israel has a commitment to minority rights. If we look at Al-Quds or Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, you see many different quarters there. You have many different, and I think this is a key point, there's many Palestinian citizens of Israel that live there. It may not be perfect, as many nation states are not perfect in their rights. But there are, I believe, that if Hamas had absolute control, you wouldn't have minority rights for Jewish people in that system that exists. Perhaps in the PLO, but I don't think that would exist under a Hamas regime. Hamas has repressive policies on minorities. And does not have legal protections for the minorities. Religious dissent is often met with punishment. So think about smoking, think about having music that's not Islamic music. All of these things will be punished. This is deeply problematic.
And time.
You said end time.
We will jump into the 5-minute closing from. Let me fix this.
Julian, let me just pull up the presentation here, because honestly, like this was a bunch of nonsense from Issa's part, if I'm being honest. And I'm trying to be kind here. I'm trying to be as kind.
Issa is literally the coolest guy here, man. Have some respect.
I love Asa, but I'm just trying to say that you bringing up the mental health situation in Israel is not a good thing. Okay, 76 confirmed suicides in the IDF, 2,100 attempted suicides according to Rabbi Shmuley. Okay, these are the people who tried to commit suicide because of what they did in Gaza. So it doesn't matter what infrastructure for mental health they have in Israel, the IDF soldiers are killing themselves. Hamas, 0 suicides, 0, zilch. Okay, the honest and truth in this closing statement is that when you compare the firepower of Israel to Hamas, Hamas has 40,000 people at most and 30,000 rockets. Israel has 60,000 armored vehicles. That alone is more than the amount of personnel that there is. They have 600 aircraft, 2,200 tanks, 300 rocket artilleries. You can never say Israel and Hamas are in a fair war or an equal war. Gaza is a physical place in the world that you guys are trying to erase. Most of Gaza's people are still alive, still walking this earth. You failed. You guys failed to genocide us. You failed. But neither Gaza's existence as a place nor the survival of its people is a guarantee, because you still exist and you still have the goals of destroying us. Gaza and its people exist only as far as the Palestinian struggle exists. So this is what we are talking about. Gazan people's lives are at risk. 2 million people's lives are at risk. This is Gaza, bro. It's an area 365 kilometers squares. It's tiny. It's smaller than Manhattan. And if anybody wants to read a book to learn about the greater Israel project that these guys are trying to hide from you, Israel's real plan, read The Greater Israel by Dr. Assad Razouk. You'll find the PDF. Just search it up, Greater Israel PDF. This is not a war between equals. It's a nuclear-backed military superpower unleashing tanks, jets, drones, artillery on a besieged population that does not even control its own airspace or borders. Hamas has no army, no navy, no air force, just a small arms and homemade rockets. Yet Israel responds with overwhelming force designed to destroy entire neighborhoods, not just fighters. When one side has all the firepower and the other side has nowhere to run, the moral responsibility lies with the occupier, not with the occupied. This is the honest truth. This is what the IDF wears as patches. They wear the Greater Israel map and they say one side controls everything, the other side cannot leave. Israel controls the land border, airspace, population registry, water, electricity, fuel. They control everything. Yet Hamas is still resisting. This is the Greater Israel Project, guys. And this is who we are. Apis, he claims the Bible allows, us to be kicked out of our own land and to be murdered. And he uses Genesis 12:3. He supports people who say Jesus is not the true Messiah. As a Christian himself, he tries to justify the crimes that they commit. And the whole world watched them commit these crimes, by the way, and wants them to be punished for it. But Apis disagrees. This is who we are. We sacrifice our lives. I'm a Palestinian. I sacrificed my life to fight for the truth after seeing the atrocities committed to my neighbors and committed upon my own family.
You live in Canada,
his
bro.
government committed. Your government of Israel that you're defending right now, I'm defending the government of Palestine, you're defending the government of Israel. Your government did these atrocities. The whole world saw your government do it. Hamas, they disbanded their government in 2017. They're ready to dissolve and leave right now and face trial. Are you ready to face trial? We follow the same God of Jesus, both of us, Apis, and we pray for Jesus to return, right? We say, may Jesus return. Our true Messiah is Jesus Christ. So don't try to tell me that you stand with Jews who literally believe that Jesus is in hell. We resist your tactics to manipulate and your lies. You lied to the audience today to avoid prosecution for the crimes you already committed. And we already saw them. It's too late. It's too late, man. You guys are done. It's over. I want to thank everybody who showed up to this debate. Look, this is a child that Israel would kill. This is a child that an IDF soldier would literally look upon his scope and shoot him in the bullet in the head for fun. An IDF soldier would look this kid in the eye and shoot him in the eye with a 50 caliber bullet and laugh about it and post about it on social media and call his wife and say, look, this is your wedding gift.
That literally never happened, by the way.
You guys are bombing buildings. We have x-rays, by the way, of our children with bullets in their skulls. Who put that bullet there? Are you going to blame Hamas too? Are you going to say Hamas used that child as a human shield?
We will jump into the Q&A. We have a lot of questions, so we do have to move fast. So if you guys can do me a favor and try to resist the rebuttals as much as possible, only when you really are like, oh, I just like a deep burning in my loins, I have to. That's the only time you can. Otherwise, we just have a ton of questions. So, folks, couple of things.
I have to say, I feel very sad for the AI children that are being killed. So I might get a little bit.
Oh, you think that picture is AI?
I might get a little bit too roused here. So I don't know if I can resist, James. But yeah,
bro, the fact that you guys are saying that the picture is AI,
dude, we're not arguing. We're not arguing. James is giving a disclaimer here. So
this is a good chance to jump into the Q&A. Also, I've got to tell you, folks. If you didn't know, if you've been living in a cave on Mars with your fingers in your ears, DebateCon 7 is happening this month. We're just days away. It's January 12th. The event is on January 31st. In other words, less than 3 weeks away, which, by the way, I'm like, oh, whoa, that just came up really fast. It's going to be huge. Apostate Prophet, David Wood, Inspiring Philosophy, Daniel Hakikachu, Jake, Muslim Metaphysician. It's going to be amazing. Check out the link in the description box right now. We're expecting it to sell out, as in every seat taken. Grab your tickets right now for DebateCon 7 in Houston on January 31st. This one, first question coming in. And like I said, we got a lot of them. So, Big Lee Drew says we were all praying for MXXXD. I hope he's okay as well. Soldier of Christ said, question for Junior. Why did you show the uncovered face of Miss Universe? Parentheses, it's haram. We'll give you a chance, and then he's got a question for AP as well.
Well, according to Isa here, Palestine wasn't an Islamic country. And this is Miss Palestine, by the way. She's uncovered. And if you look at any Miss of any other country, they're all uncovered because those are the rules that the Zionists put for these competitions. So you can thank them.
You got it. This one coming in. They also had a question for you, AP. In particular,
Really?
they said, why did Allah make you appear on a different time zone? Okay. The Real in Television says, reminder, Israel is older than Hamas. Marilyn said, and just jump
That is
in if
actually
you
a
wanna
very,
respond.
very interesting point. So, the other side here, they love to do this whole thing. Oh, this person, by the way, is older than the state of Israel. You know what? The state of Israel is actually older than any state of Palestine that was ever declared. The first time in history ever that there was a Palestinian state declared was in 1988. 1988, 40 years after the declaration of the modern state of Israel. So whenever people make this point like, oh, my grandma is older than the state of Israel. Okay, cool. So by that standard, we should also make fun of the state of Palestine because the state of Palestine is much younger.
You got it. Thank you very much for this question. Marilyn says, we are all God because of God. Kings and queens, everything should be free. This one from Big League Drew says, which world leader currently has an arrest warrant issued by the ICJ for crimes against humanity?
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Multiple. Who else? Who else? Can you answer who else? Which other leader? You can't because you don't care about anything else.
Who are
when
you
it's-
talking to right now?
Except when it's about Jews.
Who are you
one-
talking to right now?
This one
Who are you
from-
ordering around after you just got mopped in this debate?
So you
This
don't
one
have
from-
any idea at all about any other rulers being also investigated and being also under an arrest warrant,
Why are you
except
defending-
Netanyahu.
I hate to
because
do it,
Net-
but just so we
because
don't go too
Jews
far.
is the
I know
only
I
thing
know
we have
who you're
against.
trying to get us to say. I know who you're trying to
Why
get
are you
us to
defending
I hate to do this.
Netanyahu? Why are you defending that?
But, okay, forgive me, but just to do this. Ezra Gates says, the IDF used to control my calories, and I got to say I was in way better shape back then. They don't let you eat bacon. Now I eat it way too often. Big V Drew says, who are the Lahi, Irgun, and Haganah? Which of the three were deemed terrorist organizations?
So the Haganah was the general defense organization that was initially only created in response to Palestinian Arab terrorism. Irgun and Lehi were the later ones. Irgun was more about reaction and about retaliation. Lehi was the more extreme one that also carried out brutal terrorist attacks, and their numbers were about like 500 or something like that. But apparently that is equivalent to the Palestinian Arab terrorists who were the majority.
You got it. This one coming in from. Do appreciate it. Soldier of Christ says, question for Junior. As per Dennis Prager, if number of casualties determine morality, then in that case, in WW2, more Germans were killed than Brits. Does that make Germans right? Similarly, this doesn't make Hamas right, even if they murder?
I mean, Hamas are murdering IDF soldiers. They're not murdering women and children and elderly people.
Dude, on October 7th, they literally indiscriminately killed everyone.
Don't cut me off.
Hamas themselves agreed to this.
Israel activated the Hannibal Directive on October 7th and killed its own civilians. Islam,
we have it on video, man. We have it on video of Hamas going around shooting in homes and killing people. Who the hell are you gaslighting, man? You have Hamas going into residential homes and killing old people, man. We have seen it all.
They're shooting IDF bases and camps. They're shooting IDF camps. If you
they went to kibbutzim, they went to residential homes and shot directly at homes. We have multiple videos.
They didn't kill children.
They published it directly.
They didn't kill the elderly. They took selfies with the elderly. The women kissed their heads. Did you not watch the hostage videos of the?
I watched every single video from October 7th. I watched every single video of October 7th, including of Hamas terrorists.
They
going
kissed their head.
Elderly people in their homes.
I hate to do it, but just we have a lot. Distracting Game says, if they are not Hamas, why are they helping Hamas? And why does Hamas use civilians as shields? That is a war crime that Hamas constantly commits.
Because Zionists bad.
You really want to compare war crimes Let's just go to court. Bring Israel to court, and we'll compare war crimes all you want. Hamas can be hung. They can do whatever you want to do to Hamas, we do it. But whatever we want to do to Israel, let us do it.
If Hamas can make him out of their tunnels, maybe that could work.
Hamas is not in the tunnels. Hamas is on the streets waiting for you to actually show up to the court, to The Hague, because that's where you're going to go.
Right.
Israel is going to be done by 2028. There's no more Israel. No more.
I will hold you to that. Good luck
You're
with
going
that
to have to go to Zimbabwe. Go to South Africa.
Attitude. Good luck with that attitude.
Go to Patagonia where
Good
you
luck with
just
that
burned
attitude.
it, so you can buy some burned land.
Good luck with that attitude.
I'm tired, bro. My
Good luck
family
with that
got
attitude.
murdered.
We
I
must
don't
go
care
to
what
the,
you think. I don't care what you think.
must go
You live
to
in
the-
Canada, man.
Must go to the next one.
My family got murdered.
This one from Prophet XII says Dur al-Islam. I don't know what that means. Distracting Game says, you say Israel violated every ceasefire, yet every ceasefire was first violated by the Muslims every time.
True.
No, that's not true. That's not true, because every single time a ceasefire is violated, who escalates first? Israel. So that's your proof right there that Israel is the one who escalates. After every single violation, Israel is the one who escalates. Israel is the one who escalates first. So when Israel says Hamas violated the ceasefire, they're lying. They're just looking for an excuse to escalate. Israel has been lying in the media for literally 77 years. They've been lying about Zionism. They told you that Zionism is embedded in Judaism when it's actually forbidden in the Torah to build a nation of God under murder. You're not allowed to murder a single soul as a Jew, yet this state murders children and women every day. Every day. They're murdering 4 busloads of children and women. Can you believe that?
This one coming in from Do Appreciate Your Question. Big League Drew says, Isa, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast today?
I didn't. I actually was on the plane. I was coming back actually from Jerusalem, funny enough. And I landed early this morning and came back.
You got $7,000, man. What's wrong with you?
Yes, bro, Isa, you got 7K, bro. You got 7K from Netanyahu. Good goy, bro. Good goy. Good.
I actually went. I went to Bethlehem too, so I went to different parts.
So
Even Julian is joking and Julian is taking it seriously.
Apis went to Israel 3 months ago, and this guy just came back from Israel. Nice, very nice.
Loud and proud.
This one from K Khans asked me to skip it. Jonathan Tessier says, Quran 5:20-21, Allah give the Holy Land to the Jews. Why are you going against the Quran, especially Allah? Isn't that shirk? Israel team, high five, they say.
God did not give the land to the Jews, okay? The Jews are not chosen in any way for anything. There's literally a verse in the Quran that says, "O Jews, if you are chosen, then wish death upon yourself."
What a fantastic argument.
God literally tells Jews that they're not chosen for anything and that they must accept Islam. That's what's written in the Quran. So don't try to tell me that Jews.
Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing, Junior. You try to appeal. You try to appeal to Christians and try to appeal to the name of Jesus.
Well, you know what's funny?
Jesus
if you go to Israel with that cross, they'll break it. They'll pick it up. They'll spit on your face.
Dude, I walked around all of Israel with this cross. I interviewed religious Jews. I went to the wall with this cross on my neck. I went to the wall with this cross on my neck. I interviewed them. Yes, I did. I will publish it.
Okay,
in fact, go live with me together and we will publish videos where I go to Jews with my cross and interview them and ask them what they think about Christianity and the cross.
I will do a live stream with you. And
if they don't break it, and if they act very nicely, you will say, "Hey, I apologize. These guys are actually not that."
Sure, I will apologize, but I'm sure that if you did that today, they will spit in your face.
I literally did it 3 months ago.
But what about the Christian Quarter, though? What about the Christian Quarter?
I dare you to tell a Jew that Jesus is God, and look how he reacts to you.
I did tell
he will kick you in the balls.
What's up,
dear
Isa?
Jews?
I do have a question. Just like I'm curious, they have the Garden Tomb, they have the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. There's a lot of churches in Jerusalem, you know, and there's a whole Christian quarter. Like, how would you engage that particular space? There's a Muslim quarter, there's a Christian quarter, there's a Druze quarter.
We're all supposed to coexist. At the end of the day, we're all human beings born with different beliefs. I was born with the Muslim.
Did you get the question that he just asked you?
Let me finish, bro. I was born with the Muslim Palestinian identity, okay? So when there's Christian quarters, there's Muslim quarters, there's Jewish quarters. Those have to be respected. And that's what Jerusalem was made for. When Muslims ruled over Jerusalem, they let all religions worship peacefully. Muslims protected churches and synagogues.
That is false.
No, it's not false. This is true. Under the Ottoman Empire, even they were protected, and there was many treaties between the Jews and Christians and Muslims, and that was violated. Everything was destroyed by Israel. The moment Israel was established as a state, Jewish supremacy came into the land, and every non-Jew could not be a citizen. You even told me if I went to Israel, they wouldn't let me leave.
Are you kidding me, man? 20% of the citizens of Israel are Arabs, Muslims.
They're not citizens. They're permanent residents.
They're citizens, man. What are you talking about?
They don't have passports, bro. They can't.
They have passports. They are citizens. What are you talking about?
They can't travel.
Israeli Arabs are Israeli citizens. What are you talking about?
They're Jews, bro. They're not Muslims or Christians.
We'll go to the next one. Thank
All
you
right,
very much.
I just want to ask one question here. Just one simple question. Junior, throughout the Muslim history, were Christians and Jews allowed to go on the Temple Mount and to pray there?
Throughout whose history?
Muslim history, under Muslim rule.
Jews and Christians?
Yes, were they allowed to go on the Temple Mount and to pray there?
What temple? There was no Temple Mount to begin with. The ashes, the ruins of the temple.
Oh my God. On the Temple Mount compound, around the Golden Dome and the Al-Aqsa.
That's not a Temple Mount. That's an Aqsa compound.
Okay, yes.
If you refer to it by the correct name, I'll answer you.
Okay. Al-Aqsa compound. Were Jews and Christians allowed to go there and pray there under Muslim rule?
Why would you want to pray to a different god in a mosque?
Can you just answer my question? Were Christians and Jews allowed to go there and pray there?
In congregation, in mass?
All right, thank you. So, okay, they weren't allowed. Thank you.
You want Christians and Jews to go and pray in congregation and mass in a mosque? Why don't you try and build a church in Mecca?
So he just claimed that Muslims were very just.
That's like saying
he claims Muslims were very just to Christians and Jews, but he just doesn't want to answer the question, which is very clear that under Muslim rule for centuries, for 1,000 years, Jews and Christians were not allowed to go on the Temple Mount and to pray there.
It's the third holiest site in Islam. You want to go and pray as a Christian or a Jewish person in a holy site of Islam? Can you do that in Mecca? You can't do that in Medina.
We must
exactly
because Islam is supremacist.
Can we pray Eid prayer in Vatican? Can we come millions and millions? No, Christianity is also supremacist by your own logic because Muslims can't come in the millions and pray in Vatican.
Thank you. You already answered the question. Thank you.
You know they have a huge
answer your own question,
right? Like the Muslim community has a big giant Eid in Jerusalem, right?
You have to understand Jerusalem belongs to Muslims. We're gonna take it back. Whether
good luck with that, man.
You let us or you don't. Thank you for the good luck. I don't need your good luck wishes because you worship a false god.
You live in Canada, man.
No, you worship a false god. Bro, me living in the United States.
Jesus is God, and you don't respect him.
Tell the Jews that. Tell the Jews.
Dear Jews, Jesus is God.
This one from...
See, this is the guy. Jews, listen. Muslims, they worship the same God as you. This guy, he worships some guy. Some dude, some Jewish guy.
Go to the next one. Big League Drew says, what is the
You decide.
Said, what is the Balfour Declaration? Who was involved? Why was the declaration even made? Was Palestine the first choice?
So it was a declaration of support for the establishment of the Jewish homeland in what was at that point mandatory Palestine, which was held by the British Empire after they took it from the Ottoman Empire, which held it as imperial land, but where, by the way, they had no respect at all for any Arab autonomy. They really treated the Arabs like dirt. The British Empire took it over and appealed to the nation, to the predecessor of the United Nations, to establish a homeland for Jews, which was then granted. And at that time, from the 1920s to 1948, Palestine was the name for the British mandate there, and Palestinian was basically synonymous with Jews living there. That's basically what it was about.
This one coming in from, do appreciate it. Big League Drew says, who is Amalek and Esau?
So the Amalekites, that's what they're talking about.
Can I because I get called Amalek all the time by Netanyahu and Ben Gvir. And maybe Apis behind closed doors, he considers us Amalek who deserve to be killed.
I would say Hamas is
I just want to. Isa hasn't gotten to say a lot, so if you want to do a pithy response to this, you can. I'll give you a pithy response.
Amalek in the Bible, it says to kill them, kill their children, kill their women, kill their ox, kill their sheep. So go ahead, Isa. Tell me who
Right.
Amalek is.
So according to the narrative, it's sort of like the Philistines. These were kind of antagonists of the Israelites who worship many gods and stuff like that. So kind of the theme that you see throughout the Tanakh is this focus on monotheism, and there's a conflict with those who are worshiping many deities. So the Amalekites were these kind of enemies of the Israelites. So that is a situation that happened. But you can look in Islam and you can see that there were great battles with, the Quraysh, where the Prophet of Islam battled against the Quraysh, and many of the polytheists within the Quraysh, perished as well. So that's not something that's foreign.
But he forgave all of them. He forgave Quraysh, and they all converted to Islam. So it's not a fair comparison.
I mean, if you look at the battles, a lot of people, there was quite considerable casualties. You're talking about the end, but I'm talking about while there was conflict.
At the end, they all converted to Islam. Amalek never converted to Judaism, so there's no comparison there.
Well, in the Torah, there's a command that God commands. I mean, the issue is that the Torah is a part of the Islamic corpus anyway, so it wouldn't even matter. This is a part of Islamic literature. The Torah, the Zabur, and the Injil are a part of it. So these things this is a part of Islam anyway.
No, it's not. The Torah in its current form is not a part of Islam, no.
I mean, classical scholars would disagree with that, but I would say after Ibn Hazm in the 11th century, that's a whole other conversation, though.
The Torah in its current form is corrupted. The Bible in its current form, in its entirety, which the Torah is a part of, is actually corrupted. So when you choose to classify the Torah as part of the Bible, I consider everything to be corrupted. The Quran is the only thing that's preserved and unchanged.
Dear Jews and Christians, he says that your scriptures are all corrupted and you all worship falsehood, just so you know.
No, I'm saying accept Islam. Accept Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as the final messenger, and you're good. You're good. You don't have to do anything.
We don't worship pedophiles.
We can discuss that another time.
Money a day.
Aisha never said she's a victim of pedophilia, and pedophilia requires an accuser, an abuser, and a victim. Who is the victim in this situation?
You have a prophet who was 53 years old when he married a 6-year-old girl and had sex with her.
Where is this mentioned? Where is this mentioned?
It's mentioned in the most authoritative sources of Islam, in Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and all the other sources.
So now you take hadiths. Now you take hadiths that's fact.
So you keep moving the goalpost. But Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl.
What about the hadiths that say that you worship?
Was 9 years
what about
old.
the hadiths that say you're going to hell? Do you believe those two?
I hate to do this, but I have to go to the next one just because we have a lot of questions.
Why do you believe some hadiths are not the other?
A lot of questions. This one
because if you tell me that you murdered someone, I will believe you. If you also tell me that you can fly, I will not believe you. It's that easy.
Big League Drew says, "What is the star of Remphan?" Amos 5:26, Acts 7:43. Anybody know the star of Remphan?
It is
the star of the devil.
It is a reference that some people ignorantly want to make about the Star of David today, which makes no sense and has no relevance at all. The Star of David was a symbol that is not a fundamentally Jewish symbol, that was at some point used by Christians, at some point used prominently by Muslims actually throughout history, and was in later times used by Jews. Has nothing to do with the Star of David.
This one coming in from Brian Wolf 1 says, "America first." Big League Drew says, "Is Jacob someone who should be revered? How much is a bowl of soup worth?"
$2.
This one from Dark Ginger 33 says, go ahead if you want to respond. I don't want to.
I want to respond to the previous one. So it's talking about the birthright. That's what it's kind of like he's putting a jab to that. So the birthright is that Esav or Esau sells his birthright to Yaakov or Jacob for like lentils and a bowl of soup. That's the idea, and some bread. That's the kind of jab.
He sold what? He sold for $2 soup bowl.
A bowl of soup and lentils and some bread. That's the idea, because it's a whole narrative. We don't have enough time to go into it, but like there's this whole thing about you see this motif and theme of younger children getting the birthright. Like, for example, Isaac or Ishaq or Yitzhak gets the birthright over Yishmael in, the first, and then you see Yaakov or Jakub getting the birthright over Esav. So there's a lot there, but we don't have time to go into all the theology.
I'll give you 6 shekels for the bowl of soup. How about that?
This one from
6 or 7.
Dark Ginger 33 says the Quran says Israel belongs to the Jews and that the Jews have the right to unalive anyone causing mischief in Israel. Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:20 through 21.
So I have to be very fair here. My counter argument to that issue would be that that within the greater narrative of the Quran, it basically indicates and implies that Allah did initially give the land to the Jews, but that Jews would then cause mischief in the land, and the land would then no longer belong to them, or would be taken away to them. It doesn't explicitly say that, but that is basically what is being indicated. So I wouldn't agree with those who use the Quran to argue that the land belongs to the Jews. But then again, I would also not give the Quran any authority on anything at all. So. Yeah.
So why do you talk about the Quran? How does it serve you to talk about the Quran if you don't believe in it?
I talk about the Quran to point out what a disgusting book it is and how it is a
why don't you just eat it like your best friend David Pedo would?
I could.
You
This
go ahead,
one
eat
from do appreciate
go.
your question.
There you go. This is exactly he had it ready too. You know,
Dark
he knows.
Ginger 33.
Every time he goes on stream, he has that Quran.
Don't
thing
provoke
ready
me,
to
man.
eat.
They said our Emperor Fat Ass Dog says Steven Seagal is the greatest martial artist of all time. Thank you for that. Soldier of Christ says, Junior, do you condone the failed rapper Malik doxing David Wood and God Logic's family for simply repeating what he said about quote unquote Warner wanting to receive Illuminati like your prophet from Zutz?
Look, I think David Wood's end is gonna come soon. And I'm not saying this because I condone it. I think because the actions that he's done against the Muslim community is so scary. So scary that I would
I'm sorry, but that just
I
warrants
feel-
this
It
right
does
now. Here's the
sound.
I
Quran.
You
fear
have
for his
to,
life.
Junior.
I
I
fear
don't
for
know
his
if
life, man.
I don't know if you realize,
You
Junior.
can you
can't
can
say,
rip the Quran.
You will
all you
never
want,
catch
bro.
a
Oh my
Muslim
gosh.
burning the Holy Bible, by the way.
We'll never.
You guys are so gosh. How is this? You guys just. I don't. You're still not understanding. You can't say that you think someone's going to come to an end soon when you despise that person. It sounds like you're insinuating that they're going to get murdered. Like you. So
That's
I know that.
that's what the extremist Muslim community does. Like we have to admit that we're not like the Christians, bro. If someone insults our prophet and we have an extremist in our group, we can't like take
Okay, but I think
accountability
that
for that
what
person.
I'm saying is,
But
I
we
think
know what
they're
he's
gonna
gonna do,
think-
and we're gonna warn you.
I
We're
think
gonna tell
that-
you that person's coming.
Dear gosh, Junior, you were just. What I'm saying
I'm sure you think
is,
that that's wrong, though, right?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, Junior, they're gonna think that you're
It is
saying like,
wrong.
yeah, you're gonna get murdered
Because you're
soon.
terrorists, man.
No, it's wrong. I'm warning him.
Oh,
Right.
they're
I care-
terrorists. Okay, be
It's
quiet.
good to
I care
clarify that.
I care for human life, so I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I'm warning
what
you,
I'm
David
like,
Wood.
I'm
Get
saying,
some security, bro.
gosh. I'm saying that yes, you should state that up front. That like I'm not for it, but there's probably going to be someone that's going to try to murder him. Like otherwise, it could sound as if you're saying you're like, yeah, he might be offed soon. Like yeah, but we get it.
What
So-
do you expect? What do you expect when you go online and publish yourself to millions of Muslims and say you mock
I'm
their
just
religion?
gonna move on because you just
like
But
Soldier
Muslims
of
are
you
gonna
Christ.
realize that a lot of Muslims mock these other traditions. Like, for example, if you take the position, you say, well, your New Testament and your scriptures are corrupted. That's like a really nasty thing to say to someone,
Yeah,
even
but
though
dude,
you may
I'm
believe
not-
that. You
I'm
know
not
what I mean?
saying this. I'm not saying this from opinion. I'm saying this from fact. Go search up what happened to Salwan Momika,
Well,
bro, in Sweden.
I think that the Quran is a book of
He was a good
is
friend.
full of shit, and I say this as a fact.
Apis, wasn't he a good friend of yours? Why didn't you go to his funeral? Why did you let him get cremated, bro?
He wasn't a good friend of mine. I was a friend of his on a very small scale. But maybe we can have some mutual ground here. So if somebody actually did come and out of revenge because David, desecrates the Quran, if somebody actually did come and kill David as a result of that, would you consider that evil?
Absolutely.
Good, thank you.
Absolutely. I would
Thank you.
wholeheartedly condemn that because the Islam
Thank you.
doesn't call us to that.
Thank you.
Islam doesn't
I
call us
appreciate
to
that.
go and kill people who mock the religion.
Awesome,
says-
I condemn that action.
It
Thank
says it says just wait until Judgment Day and see what God does to them, and then you'll laugh. Because I can't laugh.
I genuinely think that was a very good thing to do. So I genuinely thank you. Thank you.
I'm serious, bro. If anybody comes and tries to hurt you for what you do, or David Wood or anyone, I would actually try to defend you, and I would condemn it. I would say no, it's not worth them sending themselves to hell over you, because you're not worth that much. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
not worth it.
Thank you. I would
We'll go
argue
to the
that
next
Islam
one.
actually does not condemn them, but the fact that you condemn them is very good. So thank you.
Islam,
Appreciate it.
Islam does condemn killing an innocent soul that is not coming to kill you or kick you out of your house or put harm upon you. If you
Eh,
insult the Prophet and wage war on us and want to kill our women and children and come to kill us, then expect to be buried 6 feet under the dirt. But I'm not going to come and kill someone because he ripped the Quran. The Quran's just a book, bro.
Wait, so if I insult Muhammad, would that warrant the killing of me?
I'm not going to come and kill you if you insult my Prophet.
But
No.
if somebody else does it, would you think that that is absolutely wrong and evil?
100%.
Fantastic, thank you.
Because you know what you do when you insult our Prophet? You're just giving him more good deeds. You know what you do when you burn the Quran? You're just waging war on God. You're not waging war on Muslims.
We'll
That's
go
just
to the
not-
next one.
not
I'm
up
sorry,
to us,
guys.
bro.
We can't take 5 minutes for every question. We really do have to keep it moving. This one from K Khan's Bigly Drew says, "What is the Yinnan plan? What is Greater Israel?"
So Greater Israel is actually just, it is usually exaggerated and amplified by conspiracy theorists that there is a plan to take over the entire Middle East and all that. There is only one official Greater Israel plan, which is that that the entirety of the land of Israel that was actually given or decided to be part of Israel in the 1920s should become part of Israel at some point, and that is a relatively small territory which Israel is mostly in control of today. There is a revisionist Greater Israel idea, which would also include Jordan, but most Israelis and Zionists are not on board with that. Neither is the state of Israel. And then there is an extreme Greater Israel project, which is often touted as this supposed goal that Israel is after, which would be like borders from Egypt way over to Saudi Arabia and to Iran. I have never met or heard of a single Israeli who actually supports that ridiculous idea.
Look,
This-
Greater Israel is a political vision promoted by certain Zionist extremists who believe Israel should expand
Was this
beyond
one?
what international law allows.
Okay,
them.
I already explained this.
We
one.
just,
So, Junior, I have a
remember. I
quick-
do want to. I'll give you a chance, Isa, but just to keep as many rebuttals as seldom as possible. Go ahead.
All right,
Isa.
I'm going to try to be very quick on this, but I think it's really important. Because I think we need to be symmetric. I think this is a really important thing in these conversations. If we're accusing Israel of doing this, what about like extremists like Lakshari Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Boko Haram, Daesh, all of these different organizations, and some might include Hamas within this, whose goal is a greater caliphate project? How do you counter that? Is it wrong if Israel seeks a greater project if Hamas is seeking a greater project as well?
But Hamas is not seeking a greater project.
They
Hamas
literally want all of Israel.
Hamas wants their homes back. If Israel is their home, they want it back.
It was never theirs, man. What do they want back? It was never theirs.
You realize that the majority of Hamas members are from Haifa? So Haifa is in occupied Palestine. You call it Israel, we call it occupied Palestine. They want their homes back. They're going to do
Okay.
whatever they can to get their homes
Okay,
back, no
it's
matter
not just,
what.
It's not just
you say.
Haifa. It's not just Haifa. They want all of Israel for themselves. It was
Look,
never theirs.
There are multiple resistance groups that have been expelled from their cities and pushed to Gaza, yes, but Hamas mainly come from Haifa. You know, they come from all the neighboring areas, and you have to understand that majority of Israel has renamed Palestinian cities to avoid this problem of people wanting to come back to their city. That's why cities are being renamed in Israel. So the association of Palestinians with their old cities can be destroyed. But guess what? Muslims like me are looking at you guys as a joke. We're
We
like,
have to
yo,
go. Okay. I just,
Okay, but you're avoiding the question.
I just have to.
go ahead.
We have to go to the next one. This one, Big League Drew says, "What is the we got?" They said, "What does it mean to be Semitic? Who are the real Semites?"
There is no such
Me,
thing as
me,
Semitic.
bro. I'm
Palestinian.
a Semite,
All
bro.
right, just one at a time. So
I'm a Semite, and I give everyone in this chat a anti-Semitic pass. You can be anti-Semitic for the rest of your life. Use this as proof. I'm a Semite. Be anti-Semitic. This is like a black person giving you an N pass.
So here's the thing. This is actually a big misunderstanding that is often promoted by Arabs and pro-Arab people. There is no such thing as a Semitic person. Semitic people do not exist. Semitic people only exist in the broader context of people who happen to speak a Semitic language, which is Arabic, Hebrew, and other languages. Here is the funny thing. So they often say, "Oh, I'm Semitic, so there's nothing wrong with being anti-Semitic," or "I can't be anti-Semitic." The word anti-Semitic was coined by an anti-Semite, by an anti-Jewish German guy who specifically wanted to distinguish between hating Jewish religion and hating Jews for their own race. So he coined the term anti-Semitic to specifically point out we are not against the Jewish religion or Jews because of their religion, but specifically against this race of people. And he, to distinguish that, coined the term anti-Semitism. And he was actually for it, and he was proud to be anti-Semitic. So the word anti-Semitism within context is specifically supposed to be about a directed opposition and hate toward Jews. So
Okay.
now when an Arab
must-
now when an Arab comes and says, "Oh, I'm a Semite, so I can't be anti-Semitic," you are just playing dumb word games. The
Okay,
concept itself
hypothetically-
is about Jews.
I hate
Okay,
to do it, but
hypothetically
we heard. I'm
Okay,
sorry to do this,
okay.
but we got one from Junior, and then we got one from AP. I do just sort of keep moving. We got a lot of questions. Nabil says, since 1948, Israel murdered million Palestinians before October 7th, and even before Hamas was established. Everyone forgot about all this, focusing on October 7th. Today, 9 million Palestinian refugees outside.
That's complete nonsense.
I don't think there's a number of a million at all, even historically. I think it's bloated. I think if you wanted to argue like tens of thousands, you might have a claim, but a million is a lot of people. And I think that people just make numbers, but they don't really know. There's been a lot of tragedy, historically speaking, though. There's not any doubt about that.
At worst, there were like over 100,000 people or something. At worst,
You're talking about Holocaust, right?
That were killed. So here's
You're
the
talking
thing.
about the Holocaust, right? Just wanted to make sure that you're talking about the Holocaust here. Go ahead.
So dude,
I agree. The Holocaust, there was less than a couple 100,000.
throwing me off with these idiotic points here, but there is
That's
no
if it happened, by the way.
no single serious historian actually argues that that over a million Palestinians have been killed in this conflict. No such thing ever happened. Yes, there was fighting going on before October 7, and the fighting was almost always, in fact, actually always started by the Arab side, and always resulted in their own loss, and they still continue to this day. And if you want to go into Holocaust denial, that just shows how brain dead and idiotic you are.
And that's if it happened, by the way.
This one from, do appreciate your question. Big League Drew says, was there a stand down on October 7th?
No.
Big League
Okay,
Drew.
on this point, I agree with Apostate Prophet. I'm not really fully convinced because when October 7th did happen, it was the day of Shabbat and the Jews rest that day. So
Yes.
This one from
I concede.
Max M says, Junior, were your parents cousins? This one from,
No, they weren't cousins.
thank you for clarifying this.
Like
You could
bro,
ignore
what are
them if
these
you
most
want, but
hard
if you
questions, bro?
Soldier of Christ says, Junior, why does your Quran claim a title Messiah, which is a Jewish term? You see Allah is Zionist. This is level of your argument.
Dude, Zionist was a term created in the 1900s.
Dude, you don't get the argument. He's trolling your position by using this argument here.
Zionism was a term created by an atheist person.
You still don't get it. Wow.
Like, how could God be a Zionist?
You still don't get it. Doesn't
God agrees with an atheist person. That's what you're trying to
I
say.
think they're trying to like satirize or basically use reductio ad absurdum. They're saying like according to your logic. So
what logic, man?
they're saying,
Look,
why does the
God,
Quran?
God literally says in the Quran, God says in the Quran, "O Jews, if you are chosen, then wish death upon yourselves. Because if you are upon the truth, then you would want to meet God right now, right? You
All
would
right,
want to go and meet
so
God."
Muslims, if you claim to follow the true religion, wish upon death right now.
I did wish death upon myself many times.
Well,
And
then you have a big problem, man.
Big League
No,
Drew says, why did
talking
JF?
about? You're genociding me, bro.
need to
You're
do it.
killing my family. You don't
You
think
live
I'm genociding?
you live
gotta
in
go to the
Canada,
next
and your
one.
population is doubling as we speak.
You're killing my family, bro.
This one
My
from
family died.
Big League Drew says, why did JFK not want Israel to have nukes? Why does Israel lie about having them?
So what JFK did say was not that he doesn't allow Israel to have nukes. He wouldn't be in such a position. What he did want is for every single state, including Israel, that just shows how consistent he was, to be subjected to the very same standards and to have their nuclear program, if there is one, to be inspected. That is something that he insisted on out of consistency. What people also forget about is that JFK was also a very big supporter of Israel, and in fact sought the support of the Zionist congregation a lot of times during his elections and also after his presidency.
This one from The Lion says Muslims might be able to prosper if they put more effort in their own people instead of blaming the West and Israel for every problem.
Powerful.
Nabil says 2 million Christian Palestinian refugees. When Israel bombed and destroyed Christians' churches in Palestine and Lebanon, we don't see you AP condemn Israel.
Okay, so there's no way that this guy's actually anything but a Muslim making this claim. So Israel has not bombed and destroyed churches. There are still 3 churches standing as we speak that were also standing at the beginning of the war in Gaza. There are only 3 churches. There's a Christian population in Gaza currently that is under 1,000. In fact, several decades ago, there was a Christian population in Gaza of 5,000. At the moment, it has declined to under 1,000. At the same time, the population of Gaza grew significantly by about 1.6. I think actually doubled at the same time. So the Gaza population explodes, no pun intended. It does it in both ways, while the Christian population declines severely. Who in the world do you think is actually persecuting Christians here? Christians have the best lives throughout the Middle East in Israel. People need to stop with these stupid talking points.
Heroes Workshop says Hamas admitted to October 7th and said they'd do it again.
Based.
This one from
Terrorists.
Dr. Shizut Troll says Issa and Julian are chilling. Ezra Gates says Junior, we'll wait until he gets back. The Lion says, I guess Muslims never took over other religions by I guess Muslims never took over other religions' holy sites.
They would never do that, including the Kaaba, by the way. They would never.
Ezra Gate says, Junior, why should Jews as a category be unsafe because of anything to do with Israel? I thought you said that Judaism is anti-Israel. Please explain.
Okay. When Israel claims to be acting on behalf of all Jews and then goes ahead and kills a child, what do you expect the entire world, if they were to see this child die with their own eyes, what would they think? Jews are evil, right? Because Israel is the only state in the world of the Jews. If a Muslim nation like Jordan commits a crime, nobody's going to look at Jordan and say all Muslims are bad because this Jordanian did it. But if an IDF Israeli soldier shoots a child in the fucking face, everyone's going to look at Israel and Jews.
That never happened, by the way.
It happens every day, Apis.
It never happened.
Every day. Every day.
The only evidence you have ever had of that was of fake scans sent to the New York Times, which turned out to be completely fake.
These are my family, bro. These are my neighbors,
dude,
my friends.
Junior, you know what the problem is when you try to appeal to your family and play victim. I went to Israel and interacted with so many
real
people.
Palestinian, bro. You're talking.
I don't give a shit what you are, man. I went to Israel and I interacted with so many people.
What Israel?
Who lost
because you got the perp walk, bro. You got the perp walk. You got the red carpet.
You went on a birthright trip, bro.
No, I didn't. I went to Israel multiple times.
Celebrities tend to get the red carpet treatment.
I have seen people brutally murdered.
Hear each other.
I have seen people brutally murdered on multiple different videos, proudly and happily and joyfully and gleefully by these Palestinian terrorists. I have talked to so many Israelis who have lost at least one family member, who have lost families, who know somebody who was brutally mistreated and killed during October 7th. So stop with this whole victim playing. I don't buy
how many Israelis lost their homes? Because 90% of homes in Palestine have been destroyed.
I don't care about your
1 in 43 Palestinians Palestinians
You support
lost a
terrorists.
child,
Live with the
bro.
consequences.
So I have
Israel's
a
more
question to
terrorist
your-
than Hamas, bro. Okay.
You support Islamic terrorists. Live
Israel-
with the
Israel-
consequences.
Islamic terrorists is my fucking ass, bro. The IDF are more terrorists than Hamas, bro. Okay.
So I have a
It's a
question.
trinity
Good
of
luck with that
terrorism
attitude.
with the IDF.
Good
So
luck
I
with
have
that
a
attitude.
question
Against Durgan.
You're
So I have a
cooked,
quick
bro.
question about this, about the investment. So do you think that there's a lot of casualties because perhaps Hamas does not invest in the protection of its citizens? So in Israel, they spend millions of dollars on bomb shelters, Iron Dome, each. So when they send a Qassam missile, which is like maybe $200 to produce, they send an Iron Dome missile to intercept that. That's like $40,000 to $50,000. Do you think that that might be a case of why the casualties are so disproportionate? Is that the Israeli government spends a whole lot of money to protect its citizens and Hamas doesn't? It's not about Palestine, but Hamas
Where-
itself as a governmental
Where is
institution.
that money coming from? It's coming from the United States.
Exactly.
If Israel didn't have U.S. support, I promise you, Israel would be on a ticking time bomb.
The,
that's
the
60
American
days-
support,
60
American
days or
financial
less.
support. America doesn't send money to Israel. America,
America-
gives military subsidies
America-
to Israel, which
let me
makes up less
finish.
than 1% of
finish.
Israeli GDP. What are you talking
Can I
about?
please finish? If America pulls support from Israel, Israel has 60 days expiry date.
I give it
Okay,
a week,
I'm
bro.
telling you.
And now,
Give it a
now
week,
let me
not
let me
60,
now let me give you
60 nice.
now
I
let
give
me
it a
give you the
week.
actual facts. Now let me give you the actual
I'll
facts.
give you a chance to
America
respond, then we're gonna go to the next one.
America doesn't give money to Israel. America gives military subsidies to Israel, which comes back in terms of purchases from America directly to Israel. And that subsidy actually makes up only less than 1% of Israel's GDP. So Israel doesn't depend in any way
The
of America.
Iron Dome would
It's
not
complete
function.
nonsense.
Israel would go into extreme debt and would literally, bro, they're running on low cash. They're running on
Hamas
US
themselves
support.
has openly said that they choose to
900,000.
build tunnels instead
Listen
of
to
building
this.
shelters
Listen
for their
to this.
population
Listen
because
to
they're
this.
terrorists.
Listen to this. 900,000 Israelis live rent-free in Israel because American taxpayers pay for it. What happens if Americans stop paying taxes? 1 million Israelis are going to die of starvation because
Complete nonsense.
nobody's paying their welfare checks except for Americans. This is a fact. You can Google it.
This one.
900,000 Israelis are living on
Gotta go to the
American
next one.
I recommend that everybody
You
actually
gotta go to the
Googles
next
it.
one.
Actually Google it.
Go
Big League
Google
Drew
it.
says, "Peace be with you and pray
Go
for
Google it.
MXXXD." I hope he's okay. Is there something really wrong? He was in chat.
Who-
Emperor Fat Ass
who's-
Dog
who's
says, "I believe
MXXD?
Steven Seagal is the answer to this problem. His Aikido will destroy all evil." Thank you. Emperor Fat Ass Dogs again says, "For everyone on the panel, do you prefer polar bears or black bears?"
Black bears, they're based.
Polar bears.
Bro, I'm finally choosing the colored people for once.
Nobody else? I mean, polar bears are much
Polar bears.
larger and more aggressive. But
It-
John
it's
Bundog-
because polar bears are Polish, bro. Like we all saw what happened to Warsaw.
we're
Like,
going to the
try
next one. John Bundog
Polar
says,
power.
"Why do Druze?" Okay, stop laughing at your
Polar
own joke.
power.
Okay,
Yeah.
this one from John Bundok says, "Why do Druze join IDF and not Palestinian factions?"
Is that a question for me or is for the panel?
Because Jews love Israel and Jews love Jews,
This is,
and
because
they love to go into the IDF. That's why.
because the IDF has prostitutes and Hamas doesn't have prostitutes. The IDF hires TikTok prostitutes so they can get all the young boys in. But now the young boys don't even want to go for the prostitutes because they know they're going to end up killing themselves if they sign up for the IDF.
The question was about the Jews. Why do Jews prefer to go to the IDF instead of joining Palestinian groups?
Because the IDF has prostitutes for them.
Oh, so you're saying that the Jews are just people who want to be enticed by prostitutes?
No, I'm just saying, like that's the reason many people are joining the IDF.
All right, guys. So Junior here, Hamas fan, says that Druze people are just lured through prostitution into the IDF because
Yes,
that's how
if,
Druze
if you're
are.
Druze, don't join IDF or Hamas. Go live your life. Don't join war. Don't go die for another man.
Big League
They're
Drew
Israelis,
says,
man. They're proud to be Israelis. What's wrong with you?
Big League Drew says, "Is it true that Jewish folks spit on Christians in Israel?"
No.
Yes. Yes,
All
it
right.
is true.
Yes.
All right. I'm
yes.
gonna
They don't
publish
just spit on them, they slap them, they kick them, they tell them to leave, they do a lot of things.
Dude, I could literally play you a video
They
here of
even
me
they
talking
even
to
rip the
multiple
cross off
Jews.
their neck, bro. They take the cross. If Apis walks around the Israel, around the Temple Mount, this shit will be ripped off his neck in 10 minutes. I
All
promise
right,
you.
so I'll just give one rebuttal to this, James. I actually recorded myself, and this makes me think I should just publish that. I actually recorded myself walking through the old city of Jerusalem, including through the Jewish quarter, where almost only Jews are, with a cross on my chest. I walked through there for half an hour or so, and it was a very boring video because nothing happened.
Let's see. Post that video. I dare you.
I will.
This one from K-Con says, James, can you read this one? All four of you, please. It's important. What's your favorite pizza? He asks every stream. He already knows my answer. Mine is taco. Yes, it's messy. I don't care. What's your favorite pizza? He's being for real.
Halal pepperoni. Halal pepperoni.
Mine is
pizza.
cheese pizza. Cheese pizza go hard as fuck, bro.
Yeah, you would say
Chicago-style cheese
All right,
pizza.
Who else?
Halal pepperoni.
AP,
Halal
you said
Hawaiian
cheese
style.
too?
Yes, cheese pizza.
I like cheese or white. I like that white garlic
Let's
pizza. It's very
go.
What is wrong with
I
you
love-
guys? 3 out of 4 say cheese.
As
What
as
is
as a
going
Muslim,
on?
as a Muslim Palestinian, I love pepperoni pizza, but the pepperoni has to be halal.
Oh well, halal pepperoni, no pork. Yeah.
Whatever.
Hello,
ALC
hello.
says, question for you all. Do you think Muhammad would lead Hamas today or condemn Hamas? Also, what are your... We'll
Lead.
give you a chance on that one first.
Lead.
Hamas is based to so lead.
Why would the prophet need to lead a resistance group? The prophet is the prophet of God. He would be able to destroy any oppressors with one prayer. So there would be no need for a resistance group to begin with
Oh,
if the
boy.
prophet was here.
This one from Do Appreciate ALC says, oh, they also asked, what are your thoughts on Allah agreeing with Umar's hijab?
Hmm?
What are your thoughts on Allah agreeing with Umar's hijab?
So this is a
It'll
question
tell Omar,
because
right?
so according to the Islamic narrative, Muhammad had his wives. His wives were uncovered at some point, and then his best friend Omar, who later became the second caliph, kept telling him, "Cover up your wives, man. Cover up your wives, man." And he wouldn't listen. So one day, when they were going out to the bathroom, to the toilet in the desert, he crept up upon them and said, "Hey, I recognize you." And then he went up to the Prophet again and said, "Hey, cover up your wives." And then Allah suddenly, upon then, revealed a Quran verse according to which all women had to be veiled. So Allah agreed with Omar. That's the question. But it's irrelevant to the topic. It just shows that kind of Islam is kind of man-made, you know.
Look, I'll tell you one thing. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu was one of the most firm men upon his innate fitrah, which is
Cool.
the innate disposition of morality and righteousness that has been placed in every single human by God. When
Cool.
someone has the feeling that other strangers are looking at the women, and he thinks that the only way to stop them is not by killing them, but rather by covering up the women, that is an instinct, because he knows that these perverted men are looking at these women. He saw it, so he gave the advice, and he advised the Prophet. But the Prophet, who was only speaking from revelation and not his own knowledge, didn't just agree to him, because the Prophet doesn't just agree to any man. The Prophet obeys the command of Allah. So when Allah revealed this verse, which was already going to be revealed, whether Umar bin Khattab said it or not, when this verse was revealed, then Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ observed and commanded Allah's command and observed
Takbir.
Allah's command. That's exactly what happened. So Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu didn't predict any Quran verses. Rather, he was a man built on righteousness, such righteousness that he already knew how to be a Muslim, right, in some extent. Before the Quran was completely revealed, he knew how to be the modest, perfect character of a man. He was the
Takbir.
one who fought for Islam. He was called the Lion of Islam.
Allahu Akbar.
We'll jump to the next one. Thank you, Max M says, why do Muslims worship a PDF? Never mind that.
We don't worship a man. Muslims don't worship a man. We worship the God of Jesus. So whether you call him God the Father, you call him the Triune God, whatever you want to call him, we follow the one true God, which is Allah. That is the God of Abraham. That is the God of Jesus. He's the unseen God. And we will see on Judgment Day that God. So
Dude, stop trying to claim Jesus. You don't respect Jesus at all. You don't believe
Jesus
anything.
is a Muslim prophet, bro. I have to respect Jesus. I have to believe in Jesus as a Muslim. Otherwise, I have to leave Islam.
You don't believe anything Jesus said, so don't stop, man.
What did Jesus say? The Bible is
It's a
Jesus'
different
words?
debate. It's a different debate. We can have that debate if you want to.
Dude, oh my God. You're saying that Jesus said everything that's in the Bible?
This one coming in
Somebody
from
clip that, bro.
Al-Zut Flavored Kisses says, Junior, we are here waiting in the desert. When you need the strength of 30 men, you can bring your monkey toy for comfort.
You know, the Al Zut was actually about jinn, not human beings, so they didn't have bodies. Okay? So when it says they rode him or did anything, it's talking about spirits, not human beings. Nice joke.
This one
I'll bring
from
a monkey toy to your house.
Wait, what?
Maybe I could feed you some bananas as well.
No,
And
why?
I'll record
The
it and post it
The
online.
martyr says, anyway, okay. The martyr says, Junior, if you're against the Talmud, how come the Quran plagiarized verses in the Talmud? Quran 532, Mishnah, Sanhedrin 4:5. No more running from me.
The Quran wasn't written, it was revealed first. So how could the Prophet copy something that he couldn't even read? Our Prophet couldn't read, and the Quran was first revealed through the tongue of the Prophet, and then it was written. So how could our Prophet recite something that he couldn't even read? He couldn't read the Talmud, he couldn't read the Torah, he couldn't read the Bible. This is a known fact. Our Prophet couldn't read. Okay? So he couldn't have copied
So
any
here's the
book.
thing: it doesn't matter whether Muhammad could and could not read. That is, of course, completely besides the point. The
Who read the
in chapter
Talmud for him?
the
Who read the
Quran in
Talmud?
the Quran in chapter 5, verse 32, clearly copies the narrative of the Talmud, and says that we, Allah, decreed upon the Jews that whoever kills one person has killed all mankind, and so on. And it then, of course, goes on and says anyone who is an enemy of Allah should be killed, executed, and so on and so forth. However, what happened there is very obvious. Muhammad was interacting with Jews in Medina, and the Jews were telling him about what is written in their own laws, and they were talking about the Talmud. These were actually rabbinic teachings,
What's your evidence for that?
not revelations or anything like that. And
What evidence do you have for that?
Muhammad took that as revelations from their Bible, probably from their Torah.
Now you're just making shit up.
So he
Now
included
you're
it
just making shit
into
up.
the Quran. That is the best explanation we have. Because why in the world does the Quran say, we decreed upon the children of Israel, and then says something that rabbis said in the Talmud? It doesn't make any sense.
Do you
He plagiarizes the
understand
Talmud.
that the God of Judaism, the God of Christianity, is the God of Islam?
Okay, but as I just said, what it plagiarizes from the Talmud is not something that God said. It is something that rabbis say as commentary.
If a rabbi interprets the Torah, because the rabbis are not heretics, they don't just make shit up, okay? They interpret the Torah, okay? And then they say, oh, this is what God taught us. This is what God, because rabbis follow the commandments of God. So everything they say was taught to them by God. Now, if they go and say something that is out of line or out of pocket, you can actually argue with them and say, no, it's not. But when the Quran confirms something, then you know that this is the truth. Because if the Quran confirms something that came before it, then it is the truth. If the Quran contradicts it, then you know what came before the Quran is false. And this is the method of, this is the litmus test where we use the Quran against previous scriptures. Because you guys, you like to use this in the Islamic dilemma. Why don't you believe in the Bible? Why don't you believe in the Torah? Because there are many things in the Torah and the Quran today that contradict each other, or the Christian Bible and the Quran contradict each other. So we have to take the Quran as an authoritative source, and whatever is confirmed in the Quran is true. Whatever is not confirmed by the Quran is not true.
We must go to the next one.
Judy confirms that the Talmud is a revelation.
We have so many questions. This one from the martyr says, Junior, if you're against the Talmud, oh God, they said, Junior, if Palestine was there before the Jews, why is the Al-Aqsa Mosque built over the Temple of Solomon? How much petrol did you huff today?
It's not built over any temple. When our beloved companions went and saw this land, it was a flat land, flattened. Ruins, at least you have one wall, some rocks left over. There was nothing. It was flat land. It was flattened to the ground by God himself.
Okay, but everybody knows that there was the temple right there on the spot.
No, only Jews knew that. And you're never going to build that temple, by the way. You can try for the next 1,000 years. It's never going to be.
Okay, but that's the point. So the questioner asked why it was built on the spot of the Temple of Solomon. We know, everybody knows that that is the spot. Why was it built there?
It wasn't built on the Temple of Solomon. It was built on regular land. Do you think we came and did that on purpose?
You didn't come, man. You're some guy from Canada.
We
This one
didn't we didn't
from
we didn't build it on Temple Mount out of disrespect.
Dr. Shizut says Junior needs his monkey to cope. Why are you zudding that monkey, Junior? That's sick.
The monkey was an improvision. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I didn't plan to do that. But when I heard Apis went to Israel, I was like, let me visualize what his trip looked like, because clearly he was given some money by Netanyahu. So
You have
the
some very
banana
interesting fantasies.
the banana
The
represents the
monkey
money.
looked like apostate prophet in Isa Kabir.
You have some very, very interesting fantasies, man.
Big League Drew says, who is Aisha and how old was she?
She was 6 or
Bro.
7 at marriage and 9 when Muhammad raped her.
What? How rape deserves a victim, right?
We don't
Yeah,
say
you
that.
can't
We
just-
can't
you
use that
can't-
word. We just
you-
use
you can't-
forcibly copulates.
Dude,
can't
why,
just-
stop
you
saying
can't-
that word, man. What's wrong with you?
You can't just say that when there's no victim, bro, because you're honestly delusional when you say that word and then you claim that Aisha was a victim, and then you can't bring any evidence of Aisha being a victim. So you've destroyed your
So
own.
what you're saying is
circular
that
fallacy.
if today you have forcibly sexual interaction with a
Why
younger,
are you using modern
with a
standards?
younger person, and that person never complains, that is technically not sexual assault. Is that what you're saying?
It's sexual assault if you're not married to that person. It's out of wed marriage, out of wed sex, which is completely forbidden. And if you have sex with a child out of marriage, you're going to hell because you had sex
You
out
should
of
be
marriage.
removed from Canada,
Period.
man.
Bro, you are retarded. You just called a prophet of God a pedophile. You just called a prophet of God a rapist.
But
This
if he's a pedophile, then he's a pedophile. What am I supposed to say?
You are accusing him of that, and you're going to stand in front of
Next.
God on Judgment Day unless you repent.
Next up, Orcsy95 says, Junior,
Fair
that's rude. Please give your cousin's wife's toy back. Your cousin wife's toy back.
I agree.
They're saying your wife is your cousin.
stupid, brother.
Just to be
My
true
wife
here.
is not my cousin. I've said that many times.
Gotcha.
My wife was a Christian who converted to Islam.
I don't believe you.
Big League Drew says, I
So
hope
you
we
don't
can
have to believe.
I hope we can agree here that all governments
Junior,
are
your
bad.
mother was too, right?
Yes,
They
they
said-
both converted to Islam.
Just stop
Big-
interrupting James, man.
It was like some sort of tasteless joke, you
James.
guys. You think this is
James.
funny? This one from Big League Drew says, I hope we can agree here that all governments are bad. Peace be with you. Thank you.
No.
And Emperor Fat Ass Dog says, imagine what Junior does with okay. This one from Yerba Mate Talk says, the man, the legend, Isa Kabir. After show on Yerba Mate Talks, open panel. Let's discuss the debate. I like Isa's smile. Happy guy. He's linked in the description box. And Big League Drew says, what percentage of U.S. taxpayer money goes toward Israel healthcare system compared to Israel's tax money?
Less than
I think it's only
1%.
1% of American money goes to Israel.
It's
Why are
significantly
you
It's a big
lying,
change.
bro?
0.5% or something.
Bro, 80% of Israel's GDP comes from America and foreign sources.
What?
80% of the current GDP of Israel
All right, everybody.
wouldn't be
Here's something to
possible.
do. So
Wouldn't be
earlier,
possible without America
Junior
and foreign
Junior made a
sources.
claim and said, "Hey, Google it, guys." So I would encourage everyone to listen to Junior, what Junior earlier said, and to do the following: Google for yourself right now as we speak. Since Google has this fantastic new function of AI answering your questions with proper sources, right? Google it right now. What percentage of Israeli GDP comes from U.S. funding? Please Google it right now, everybody. Do it at home. Thank you.
This one, do appreciate your question. K Cons says, after show, assume you don't, let's see. Big League Drew says, what would Jesus do? But doesn't give the context. Dylan Cantor says, Hamas has been committing suicide via suicide bombs since 1994. And forgive me, it's not it's self-terminating is what we say. This is going to get demonetized anyway, but whatever. This I don't know why I try. But if you had a response, you can give one.
It's funny, James, okay? We don't gotta abide by TOS. It's just funny.
Yeah.
What Junior suggested to earlier, he could just buy accounts.
James,
That's
you
true.
have to blame our opponents here because they're the ones who came with the derogatory terms and the insults, and they think it's funny when
Dude,
they
you're
should be.
insulting me since the beginning of this debate. Are you aware of
Bro,
that?
you need to repent, bro. I will repent. You need to go
I
repent.
hate to do it, but we just have so many questions. Jonathan Tessier says, Junior, the drones, jets, that's the IQ difference.
Nice.
All
My
right.
IQ is 149. Ridvan's
Ah.
IQ is not 200. I'm
I
telling
would
you
say
right now.
that Junior's IQ is probably at most 67.
I've literally done an
Oh,
IQ
okay,
test.
Apostate
You
Prophet.
have
There's no
not.
way we're still doing the 6-7 in 2026, bro. Leave that in 2025, okay? Like,
Dude, I only did it like
storyline.
a maximum of 6-7 times so far.
What are you? You're trying.
Okay,
Bro,
calm down.
Julian, you know why he's saying 6-7? He's trying to summon demonic spirits, bro. That's why he keeps saying it.
This is what a 67 IQ person would think.
This one from AG says, thank you, James. Thanks for your kind words. For making these talks possible for the world to see. Junior, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you make it big. According to my intellectual Muslim friends, you are a Shubahat machine. What's that mean?
Shubahat means like
Don't.
treading the gray area between haram and halal.
Oh.
It means a don't. That's what it
The
means.
martyr says to the chat, who won? Put ones in chat if you thought it was AP and Isa. Put twos if you thought it was Junior and Julian. Big League Drew says, name another world leader with an active
Dude,
arrest.
wait a minute, man.
Says, name another
Junior,
world
you don't know
leader.
what Shubahat means? What kind
is
of Islamic
wrong with you?
expert
Does
are
you
you?
not hear me? They say,
Bro,
No, wait,
stop
this is
cutting
very
James
important,
off.
James. This is very
Stop-
important,
stop
James. I'm
cutting
very
James
sorry.
off.
I'm very sorry, James, but this is very, very important because
Now you're gonna say
Junior-
something stupid, and then I'm gonna debunk you. Go
Junior
ahead.
just didn't understand what Shubahat means, which is very, very incredible for somebody who is a Muslim scholar. But
I
anyway,
do-
James, continue. Anyway, James.
I do know what, bro. What are you talking about?
this one
Go ahead,
from
go ahead.
Big League Drew says, name another world leader with an active arrest warrant for crimes against humanity other than BB. Genuinely curious. I think they're asking UAP.
No, I don't think they're asking me. I think they're asking them because that's the question I asked to both Junior and Julian.
What question?
But they I mean, they kind of obviously didn't have the answer earlier. So I think
What question?
they say
Which
another.
other?
They say name another world leader with an active arrest warrant for crimes against humanity other than BB.
Oh, wasn't the response supposed to be Putin, right?
I don't know. I was asking you.
Yes, Putin. Yes.
Yes, because he's also a wanted war criminal by the ICC.
There are more than just Putin, but Putin is the other one, yes. But
But Netanyahu's the worst because he kills women and children.
This
and
one
has
from
fun.
And Putin doesn't.
Robin Webster says, stop fighting and killing each other over literary characters. Isa W. Isa Kabir sends a super chat himself. Says, thank you to my colleagues AP and Junior and Julian. That's kind of you, Junior Isa. Thank you. Ezra Gate says, question for Junior. Said Dair Oi Nak, just checking. Come on, guys. Big League.
Is that
that's really what
English?
he said.
That's
Big
not English, bro. Speak English.
This one from Danica Braveblood says the Quran mentions Israel 43 times. Palestine, 0.
It mentions Al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, which belongs to Muslims. Thank you very much.
Big League Drew says
So it doesn't mention Palestine. Cool.
said you may be able to justify the soup, but how do you justify Jacob lying to his father, pretending to be another son when his father was blind? Isa.
Yeah, Isa, what's wrong with you?
Say that question again.
You may be able to justify the soup, but how do you justify Jacob lying to his father, pretending to be another son when his father was blind?
Yeah, it's a part of the long story. We don't have time to go through it, but that is a part of the story too. And the mother of both of the sons. There's a whole. It's very complex and it's nuanced. You know, it takes a long time to go through that.
This one, coming in from Max M says, question for Junior, was Muhammad a PDF file?
No. Even by
AP.
modern standards, no.
Maddie says, AP, does the Quran ever mention Palestine?
No, the Quran does not mention Palestine.
No, it doesn't.
Ugh. This one, Holy Hack
Ard
says,
al-Muqaddasa.
question for the moderator. Why do you continue to allow that idiot to call someone apus? Do your job and stop the idiot from childish name calling. I mean, we really let pretty much anything fly here. So Like,
I
this is
mean,
how
you want
we-
me to call him? You want me to call him apostate prostate? I'll wait for him to come back to call him that
Yes,
because
we're
I'm like,
all
I
just
don't-
dying for you to
Okay,
say that.
Jim, since you let everything fly here, can I throw a Roman salute up?
No.
Oh my god!
No.
So anything that's within YouTube terms of service, that's just kind of how the channel's always
I'll
been.
leave the call if you do that, bro.
So we
Okay, for on Junior's sakes, I
no,
won't
we're gonna
do
go to the
that.
next question. Edihan's cough says, can anyone name a person in history who is seen positively after denying widely recognized genocide?
Wait, can you say that question again?
Can anyone name a person in history who is seen positively after denying widely recognized genocide?
Never.
The Martyr says, if Greater Israel is evil, what about the expansion of Islam from Arabia to Iran, Israel, the Levant, Egypt, etc.? No different than the Islamic conquest.
Apostate prostate is back. You want to answer that question?
What is it? What is this terrorist? What's it? What is it?
So they're asking about like the Islamic expansion. Is it any less worse than it was pretty much the question I had asked earlier about the argument about Jewish expansion versus Islamic expansion. Is there a justification for Islamic expansion?
I don't understand the comparison.
This one
I don't think that
from-
there's no Jewish expansion taking place, nor was there any Jewish expansion in history. I mean, what period are we talking about? I really don't get the question. But Islamic expansionism is very unique among religious communities and religious groups and all that. Islam started as a violent militaristic religion and expanded to the vast majority of places where Islam spread through violent conquests. That's how Islam spread from the very beginning till now. There were few instances, few places in the world where Islam spread through trade, some through preaching, mostly through brutal conquests. And Islam is very much unique in that regard.
This one from, do appreciate it. Coming in from Free Brain says, to the Muslims, how can you prove that Muhammad was receiving verses from the real Gabriel and from the real God?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
How can you prove that Muhammad was receiving verses from the real Gabriel and God?
Of course, it was revealed across 23 years, not in a cave like many conspiracy theories claim. Over 23 years, this Quran was revealed through private revelations, which were then confirmed by science over 1400 years, confirmed by previous religions, confirmed by rabbis, confirmed by priests, and Islam went from 4 people to 2.4 billion people today. That doesn't happen without truth. And the truth can only be revealed through the Holy Spirit.
It happens through conquest, yeah.
No. It happens through truth. You don't conquer the world and get to 2 billion people from 4 people. That doesn't happen like that. You gotta
So
have.
wasn't also that argument for Ridvan because of the Crusaders?
This one from...
So the funny thing is, if that shows that it is truth, then we all have to agree that Christianity is true and Jesus is God. So
No, I mean, Jesus is a prophet of God. Jesus is the true Messiah.
I'm sorry, Junior, this is literally your standard.
People need to respect Jesus, but Christians don't all believe that Jesus must be worshipped.
Now you're contradicting yourself. The vast majority of Christians believe that.
This one from Maddie says, Junior, was the Bondi Beach mass shooting justified?
Absolutely not. It was an IDF inside job.
The Martyr says, host, props
Okay,
for the
so
massive...
it was a Mossad inside job, not
it was a Muslim terrorist who did it.
No, it was Mossad messaging this mentally ill kid, and they hired him under the guise of ISIS, right? And then they funded him and sent him the guns and motivated him to do this shooting. And then it was a Muslim who stopped him, a real Muslim who stopped him.
This is what Muslims always like to do. For every bad thing that they do or one of their own kind does, it's like, oh no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was Israel.
It's against Islam.
Take some responsibility, man.
This one from Pable 73 says, religion, any religion, and anti-science will be the downfall of humanity. We're trying to stick their thumb in all of your guys' eyes.
Christianity says the earth. Christianity says the earth is flat.
Atheist.
Christianity says
atheist from 2006. Very
Tips
cool.
Fedora.
You
This
believe
one from
you believe the earth is flat. We believe the earth is round. That's the difference between Christianity and Islam. Christians believe the earth is flat, like Zerka, apostate, prostate, all the Christian
I
apostles.
believe the Earth is flat.
Absolutely, that's what your Bible tells you. So I hope you agree with it. The Quran tells us that the Earth is round. So next question.
Right.
This one from the martyr says,
You
host.
can't argue
You
this,
got to go
brother.
to the next one.
Let's
They
move on.
say,
Dude, stop
host-
interrupting James, man.
They say, host, props for the massive patience. All credit to the speakers. They're linked in the description box. And
Thank you.
Free Brain says, to Muslims, how can you prove that Muhammad... Susan Shellett says, Muslims, if your God is so powerful, how come your rock was smashed and stolen?
Because there's no deity applied to the rock.
This one from Ethan's Cough says, how old was Mary after marrying Joseph?
12.
False. So the only source that we actually have that gives an age to her marriage is a source that is the Proto-Evangelium.
What do
of
you mean
James,
false, bro?
Which is
Jewish rabbis say Mary was
says-
12, bro. What do you mean false?
Why? Who cares about Jewish rabbis? What are you talking about? So the only source that we have is the Proto-Evangelium of James, which says that that when they were looking for somebody to take care of Mary, who was supposed to be a devoted virgin to the Lord, she was at the age of 12. That's when they were looking, and eventually they found Joseph, and so around 2 years later or something like that, the marriage took place, and they never had any sexual interactions. He was an old man, and she was a little virgin. That is what the source says. And later, much later after that, Jesus was born. The issue with this is that no Christian community accepts this source as authentic or as reliable. Even the Catholic Church would be the one that most highly regards this source, but even the Catholic Church says that we have no way to actually regard this source as trustworthy or reliable in the things that it says. So it is probably not trustworthy and probably not reliable, so we don't really know how old she was.
This one from, do appreciate it. OJ Nafta says, 6-year-old cannot give consent. I don't care who you are.
Look, bro, a 6-year-old can also not be previously engaged. She cannot serve in war, and she cannot memorize 200 hadiths. So I agree with you. But I'll tell you this.
Dude, why are you copying me? Why are you putting sunglasses
I'll
on?
tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. Mary gave birth to a kid, yet she's still considered a virgin. Aisha never gave birth to a kid, and she was always considered a virgin. Think about that one.
Why are you putting sunglasses on and copying me, man? What's wrong with you?
I'm competing with you, bro.
Junior has more aura, bro. Calm down. Like Redvan, tone that ego down.
Now I have to take them off because of you.
This one from
Exactly, good boy.
Jake the Welder says, Junior. This one from Jake the Welder says, Junior, was the IQ test you took one of those that are ads on social media?
It was
No.
a Timo IQ test.
It was a real IQ test done for every student in the school.
It was not a real IQ. It was an online IQ test. You never took a supervised IQ test.
I did the IQ test in grade 12, by the way. So my IQ is probably way higher now.
Here's a challenge, since you care so much about it, Junior.
Let's do a live IQ test. Your IQ is probably 60,
there
bro.
is no such thing.
James, you're willing to set it up?
There is no such thing as a live IQ
James,
test. I challenge you to
swear
do one
if-
thing.
I swear, if you set up a live IQ
Okay.
test, I swear
Dude,
to
you
God, I
keep
will
talking
do the
about
IQ.
IQ, which is
He will
why I
not do
mocked
the
you about
IQ
it.
test because his IQ is below 100. My IQ
All
is
right.
149.
You talk about it so much, you care so much about it, which is why I mocked you about it earlier. Here's my challenge to you. Apply to Mensa and take an actual certified IQ test from Mensa and then publish the results with everybody. The actual certified document. Make it
Okay.
public,
Sure.
please.
Sure. I'll do the
This-
test this week.
Thank you.
This one from
Challenge accepted.
Pable says, this doesn't happen often. The chat is funnier than the debaters. Wow. Congrats, chat, on being funny.
Okay.
Yo, one in the chat. If you guys want a part 2 of this debate, because this debate wasn't complete today. We talked about who's more wrong, but we need to actually debate who the actual terrorist is. Is it Israel or Hamas? Because
Israel,
That's
their
awesome.
trinity
That's
of
a great
terrorists.
debate.
yeah, because who is more wrong? Yes, both sides did wrong, and I hope today that we proved that, Israel does more wrong because they have more capability to do wrong. But I think we need to actually determine who is the real terrorist here.
I have to say this debate was more entertaining than keeping up with the Kardashians. So.
Exactly. Enemies unite.
This one from, do appreciate it. Free Brains says, Junior, you did not answer my question. Can AP and Isa, is there any proof that pedo Hamid, police be upon him, talk to Gabriel?
No.
What do you mean? Bro, read the Quran. The Quran is your proof. If you have a brain, then you will read the revelation and judge it for yourself and say, oh, maybe this is the truth or maybe it's not. But if you don't read it, then you're not going to ever be able to come to the conclusion that it was sent by a true God and the Holy Spirit. So
Wait. By the true God and the Holy Spirit?
God commanded the Holy Spirit to bring down the Quran and reveal it to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Wait, so you believe that the Holy Spirit is actually an entity that also worked in the revelation here?
Don't bring the Trinity conversation into this bullshit. I don't believe
So
in the
you
Trinity.
just said it.
I'm
man.
a pure monotheist. I
You
worship
just said it.
God alone.
I'm asking you for clarification of what you just said. Do you believe that?
I said that God commanded the Holy Spirit to reveal the Quran to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Dude,
This is a
that's
good
And you know
opportunity.
who is the Holy Spirit? It's Angel Gabriel, bro.
We've
It's
been
not
going.
that hard to figure out.
We've been going about
It's not,
3 hours.
not that hard to make that connection.
This is our chance. We've got to say, folks. Wait, let me just double check. I feel like there's somebody here that I was like, did we miss that? Oh, we got that. Is
Dude, they're gonna take fear of you.
Thanks for your patience, folks. Check out our guest links. They're linked in the description box. They are the lifeblood of the channel. They make this fun. We appreciate them, so check out their links. That includes if you're listening at the podcast. We are on podcast, so if you use Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whatever it is, we put our guest links in the description box there in those podcast episodes too. With that, a couple of last little housekeeping things before we go. DebateCon 7, January 31st in Houston. Tickets are linked in the description box. What are you waiting for? Come on out, meet your favorite debaters, see them debate live. It's going to be amazing. Not only that, but if you're like James, I'm in Australia, I'm in Antarctica, I can't make it, if you join the Final Word membership, you can watch all of the debates live streamed. It's going to be amazing. So you have plans no matter what, Saturday, January 31st. Check out those memberships for the channel. This one from AFTERSHOWS 8668 says, both religions hijack Jewish religion. Sad. Wow. Any
Thoughts on that?
I think everybody disagrees with
If
that.
if the same God that reveals revelations to Moses, reveals revelations to Jesus, and then reveals revelations to Muhammad, peace be upon all of them, how is that hijacking? You gotta change the definition in your brain. Because if these religions all exist and they all came from the same God, that's not hijacking.
This last one from Apostate Prophet, thanks for your super chat, says, Jesus is God. Want to say thank you to Apostate Prophet and Isa and Julian and Junior for being here. As I said, they are linked in the description box. And folks, as I said, January 31st, Houston, Texas, AP, David Wood, Daniel Hakikachu, Muslim metaphysician, Inspiring Philosophy. It's going to be huge. DebateCon 7. Grab your tickets. With that, I'll be back in just a moment with updates about modern day debate. Thank you for support. Thanks, AP, for that last minute generous super chat. We do appreciate that. Tyrone McGregor, thanks for your last minute super chat. Sorry that I literally just dismissed the speakers. Let me just open up the Zoom call and you can see my face, my mug. But I want to say, you guys, thank you for everything. Thank you for all your support. We are excited about modern day debate and what's happening. There are big things happening. We are a fully neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. It's our goal at Modern Day Debate because we believe YouTube deserves a better class of debate channel, and we're going to give it to them. Thank you guys for all of your support as we do just that. If you would be so kind, if you are still here and you haven't hit that like button yet, please do. We're at 396, no joke. So we're only 4 likes away from passing the big 400. So thank you for your support through that way. Thank you guys for being here. I see you there. Thanks for that feedback on my audio. Black Feather says, James is so quiet. Let me turn that up. I'm going to just tweak this a little bit. Let me know if that's better. But want to say thank you guys for your support. Yossi Rizzo 1278 says, thanks, James. Thank you. Thanks to our guests. All credit to the guests. They really are the lifeblood of the channel. Thank you, Torah. Torah is the word 7. Thanks for your hitting the like. I appreciate that. Melonhead 9568, thank you for your kind words. And I am excited, though, as there's a lot of big stuff coming. We just blew through 400 likes. Now we're at 407. Thank you. We're so close to 420. We can get to 420. We're at 408 now. Thanks for that extra like. Anafta 8668 says, James, your channel's awesome. Keep up the good work. I always listen through Pandora. Wow, that's cool. That's awesome that you listen through Pandora. I forgot that we're on there, but I think we are. We're on like the cool thing is, thank you, Jeff McPherson 6063 for hitting like. He said he just got it to that 400. And folks, we're only eight likes away from 420. I'm just I am so grateful for all of your guys' support in many ways. There are a lot of ways you can support the channel and help us put on more debate cons. Because here's the thing, I'm going to tell you something that it's somewhat private. Well, it's not really that controversial. It's always been the case. We usually lose money on the event itself. So the in-person tickets help, but they don't usually cover all of our costs to put on the event. It's YouTube that kind of pulls us out of the red. And the way in which YouTube does that is that, well, there's ad revenue for the debates, but another way is through channel memberships. That really does help Modern Day Debate. If you have not yet done it, consider joining a channel membership tier. I'm going to put that link in the old live chat. The cool thing is, with these memberships, the coolest thing is if you join at the final word level, you get to watch all of DebateCon 7, see right there, the poster behind me, from the comfort of your own home, which is amazing. The reason that it's amazing is because I know it's maybe like, James, it's just hard to travel. You can watch the entire conference from the comfort of your own home, drinking Soylent, whatever you like to have at home, eating your popcorn, whatever you enjoy. Joshua Wooden says, hey, James, when will the Indiegogo perks be available for me to grab? I have since DebateCon 4. This one was fun. Well done, James. Let me think about that. I got to be honest. We just haven't. The Indiegogo, it has become less popular. And so right now I was kind of planning on not doing it. I might do it since you asked, but thank you for gifting those memberships, Big League Drew. It means a lot. I was actually basically thinking we're going to focus on memberships because the final word, when people join at the final word level, that allows them to watch the entire debate or the entire conference from home. But it also is a way of supporting Modern Day Debate. It helps immensely as many hands make light work. And that, like I said, helps us get out of the red for the financials on the event. So thank you guys for all of your support. And yeah, I hope if you got one of those gifted memberships, use those custom emojis, which is another perk you would get. Check out those memberships. Oh yeah, I got to put the link in. So I just put the link in the live chat. And then if you were one of those people that received a gifted membership from Big League Drew, thank you for your support in gifting those. So for example, Afna Ta 8668, as well as David Sangura, Carrie Ann, Patricia, and Robin Hood 253, as well as Nathaniel Lost His Life and Baz the Dark Horse. Use those Modern Day Debate custom emojis, including Jeff McPherson 6063. Thanks for becoming a member. We appreciate that. You can also now use those custom emojis that you see at the emojis. What's the word I'm looking for? If you click the emojis button, use those custom emojis to call your friends in chat a soy boy. That's very important. Thank you. Caligula5251 says, hit the like button. Thank you for your support. Max M3522, thank you for being a member. It says, not cool that you supported HAMAS supporters. Technically, they weren't actually... well, actually, that guy actually did cheer for Hamas. When I set it up, I was under the impression it was more like they were kind of saying, like, who's worse? Like, they weren't saying, like, that they endorse the position that they're kind of standing by as much as that they're saying that the other position is worse. But I get where you're coming from. I know it's controversial. National Jones 1, thank you for being here. Says, I usually very easygoing. Sorry to be worked up. No problem at all. And Dawa Troll, thanks for being a member, as well as Jonathan Messier, 429. And thank you. It says, I'll buy the full membership if I don't have it before the 31st for DebateCon. Thank you for that support. And that's true. So if you guys got gifted a membership, thank you for becoming a member. The final word, Grumble Snort, we do appreciate that support. Is if you got gifted, let's say you're like, I got gifted a $5 membership, because if you got gifted one, that's what you got, is it's always a $5 one, is you might be thinking like, oh, but the final word, that's so far away, that's like $14.99. Well, for you, it's actually, to upgrade, you just pay the difference. So it'd just be $9.99. So you're just paying $9.99, and then you'd actually be upgraded, because that $5 initial gift kind of like raised you up by $5 already. So, but yes, thank you guys for being here, and thank you for your support. Grumble Snort says, just got myself a membership for my birthday on the 13th. Wow. Well, happy early birthday, Grumble Snort. That's exciting. I hope you have a great birthday. And depending on what time zone you're in, it's already your birthday. Because in Eastern time, I think if I'm right, it's already 12:45 in the morning. So if you are in Eastern time, happy birthday. If you're here in what's the word I'm looking for? If you're like me, or if you're in Pacific time, well, then you got a couple more hours. But happy birthday anyway. I hope you have a restful and pleasant birthday. And yeah, so I hope it's peaceful and serene. And thank you. I think thank you for being with us. The Shield of Saint Hubertus says, hi, James. Hi, thank you. And then Often Najah says, you disagreed with my super chat, said that Christianity and Muslims stole Jewish religion. Can you elaborate? Technically, I actually just said that everybody up on the thing disagrees with you. That's not me saying that they're right. So, for example, like I said that like Junior and what's his name disagree with AP, and AP disagrees with them. It's more a statement of like the people's beliefs than me saying you're wrong. So I hope you didn't feel like I slapped you down. But Larrikin Hazmat says, great work, James. God bless. Thanks for your kind words. And thank you, Dawa Troll, for being a member. And thank you, Big League Drew, for gifting those other 5 memberships. Caligula 5251 just got a big, beautiful new membership. Our folks just got a big, beautiful new membership. Based Autistic 6021 just got a big, beautiful membership. And Idea Pants 365 and Micah Saurus got a big, beautiful membership. But yes, thank you guys for all of your support. Whew. Oh, I have to be honest, I'm pretty tired. But yes, use those big, beautiful membership, use those modern day debate emojis to call your friends in chat a soy boy. We're almost at 425 likes, so we only need 2 more likes, and we'll be at the big 425. So thank you guys. Joseph Mullen says, dang, I missed it. You did, but don't worry. You can always just pull that little timer back, and you can watch the entire debate from the very start. But yes, thank you guys. Oh, man, I'm so tired. But we're going to make it. I got to tell you, we do have a lot of upcoming debates. We have one Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think we're setting up one for Sunday. We have a lot coming up. So it's going to be a very busy week. Thank you guys for your support. And Blackfeather says, do you watch Brian Johnson, James? No, I don't know who that is, actually. And then Claire says, it's there, 425 likes. Thank you guys for your support. Although I just noticed we've got 458 live viewers So we're at 426. We're only 24 likes away from 450. So, which if there's over 450 watching live, now some of them frankly probably fell asleep. So if you're like, oh, I don't know why, do I want to hit like, you gotta, because the people in the Eastern time zone, they probably fell asleep and they just left the stream open. So Nonsense 15 says, where can we see the debate prompts on DebateCon? Oh, that's a good question. We will have the event pages up shortly, but as of right now, you'd have to go to the ticket website, which is linked at the very top of the description box. So check that out, as there are 4 big, beautiful debates. And yes, on screen it says you get to watch all of DebateCon 6 live. It's supposed to say DebateCon 7. I just haven't updated it. So yes, you would get to watch all of DebateCon 7 live if you have the Final Word membership. So jump in on that. And then says, Nathaniel lost his life, says, I hit like when I got here from East Coast. We're at 430 likes, so we're only 20 away from 450. So thank you guys for your support. And also, though, if you have a friend who would enjoy this content, if you're like, oh, yeah, I have a friend who, we talk about this stuff and we're like interested in these topics, like sometimes in person we talk about these, or maybe on Facebook, share this with them. Grab the link, just click that little share button, which is near the like button. If you share and send them a link and say, hey, I don't know if you know about this channel, but they host topics like that we talk about all the time. There's like people debating these things all the time. It's kind of like Speaker's Corner in London. Is one thing I do like about the internet is that it's cool that Thank Jeff McPherson. Thanks for your kind words. Says, smash the like and help support the channel. It's literally the least you can do. We do appreciate that. And National Jones 1 says, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Fibbles5443. Glad you're here. I see you there. And we're only 12 likes away from 450. Like, we are super close. So thank you guys for that support. We're only 11 likes. Now we're even closer. Is only 11 away. Speaker's Corner is an epically cool thing, right? It is. Like, that's an awesome thing that people do that. But one thing I like about the internet, you have to give the internet its credit, is that, like, you can, in this case, you had 4, I think the peak was like 800 people that were watching this. Now, that's just live, right? So when people watch this debate later, when it's not live, as a video on demand at the channel here, that's going to be many more people listening to this debate. So realistically, this debate will probably get like, I don't know, between 20 and 30,000 views ultimately, I'm guessing. So that's cool that like 20,000 people can listen to that debate, which is epic. Because at Speaker's Corner, like, I don't think you have that many people there. Or if you did, I don't know if you'd have the sound amplification to get the message out to that many. So the internet is cool in that way, as we do want this to be kind of like a digital Speaker's Corner. But yeah, we do appreciate you guys. Torah is the word 7. Says true, like 1 million people. Right, like some of our debates, yeah, we have one debate that has passed over the 1 million mark in terms of views. And Black Feather, thanks for being here. Joseph Mullins, thanks for that big, beautiful emoticon. I see that. We're at 440 likes, so we're only 10 away. So if there's 10 people that are up for hitting the like button, just give it a little tap. Don't smash it. We want to use it again. We want the next person to be able to use it too. Just a little tap really does help. So I saw there was another one in chat. Exactly. Good to see you back here again. I hope you're doing well. And Rumble Snort says there's also the reach of other channels clipping segments. That's how I found this channel. Really? I didn't know that. That's cool. Okay, are you serious? I should do that more often. Our folks, thanks for your kind words. Says MDD is a goated channel. I appreciate that. That means a lot. And it really is. It's the speakers that make this awesome, because if it was just me debating myself every night, you guys would just punch yourselves in the face. It would be that bad. Nonsense 15 says, I saw the debate prompts. I'm sold. It is going to be so good, for real. I am really excited for this conference. Aj Nafta says, I would love to see Matt Dillahunty versus God Logic. Hey, me too. except Matt Dillahunty has boycotted Modern Day Debate. He will not come back. But that's all right. You know what? We always said, because Matt used to be like the biggest star here, and now it's kind of like David Wood, Andrew Wilson. And we always said, though, whether it be, because we started with like our big star first was Kent Hovind, right? And then it was No Nonsense 15. Thanks for your membership. Welcome to the final word. We appreciate your support and enjoy watching DebateCon 7 at home. It's going to be amazing. Thanks for that support. No Nonsense. Now, yeah, basically, it used to be that like Kent Hovind was like the big name that we used to host when we were brand new, and we were just so tiny. Kent Hovind was like the big name, and he helped us grow a ton. We're at 444 likes, so we're only 6 likes away from 450. So do hit that like button, as Joseph Mullen says in chat. Thanks, Joseph. Lucid Harry says, this channel is great, hosts a lot of big debaters. Thank you, Lucid, for saying that. It is true. Like, they're great debaters. KCons 4953 says, MDD is my favorite pastime. Love your channel, James. Thank you, KCons. That means more than you know, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you enjoy it. I do love being here myself. Like, I love what I get to do. Modern Day Debate is fun. Thanks, KCon says, I'm going to keep asking your guests about pizza, though. That money's yours. Thanks for your kind support with those pizza questions. And, but yeah, basically, it was Kent Hovind. There was the Kent Hovind era. And then eventually we started hosting Matt Dillahunty, and he was, even bigger in terms of like his, would get commonly 100,000 views. And then, like David Wood would come on, and that, grew the community. And Apostate Prophet and Inspiring Philosophy has been with us a long time, and his debates have also gotten, very, very popular. And then, then Andrew, so Kent Hovind, we didn't host him as much. And then, Dillahunty, he didn't want to do it anymore. It was the Andrew Wilson debate that he just didn't like that. So then, yeah, it was, Matt, that era was done. And now it's kind of like the Andrew Wilson and David Wood era. Those are two of the most popular we host. And then, there are also guys like Apostate Prophet and Inspiring Philosophy, which are also big as well. But, David's kind of like almost like the godfather of like the apologetics movement. David's been doing apologetics for, like there are like old school videos of David back when he was like, I don't know. Let's see. I remember when I was like it was 2012, and a friend, we used to listen to debates on all the time on the internet. And he was like, hey, did you see this guy? And it was David Wood against, I'm trying to remember who it was against. I don't even remember. I think it was John Loftus. But yeah, this was like the first time I'd ever seen him. And so that was back in 2012. And David's been doing it even before that. So, but the point I was making is we can never be dependent on a single speaker, which I'm glad that Modern Day Debate continued to grow even when Matt Dillahunty left. In fact, coincidentally, it was just because some of our shorts were doing really well. We had our best month after Matt left, and that was like our best month ever, where I think at 1 month we had like 12,000 new subscribers by itself. So yeah, we just want to say thank you guys for being those supporters, for subscribing. If anywhere it helps, it's here, because if we ask a new guest, we say, hey, you want to come on and debate on Modern Day Debate? And let's say they're popular. The first thing they will check is our subscriber count. For real. That's just the most obvious heuristic, is people will look at that and they'll be like, oh, okay. And then they'll look at like video views. Like, how many views do you get per video? But so it really does help in terms of, if you want Modern Day Debate to grow, hitting subscribe really does help. Now, let's see. Our folks says, if you can get Fearless Truth / God Logic versus Alex O'Connor, Rhett McLaughlin on any topic, quote, which is more logical, atheism or Christianity, I might come live for that one. That would be based. Alex O'Connor's pretty hard to get now. So we hosted him about a year ago. It was a remote debate. And it was a great debate. And I like Alex. I'm cool with him. But I think he had gotten asked, like, he gets so many requests, and I had asked him so many times. He's like, I'm good. You don't have to ask as much, because I think he's occasionally debating, probably not as often, but I'm happy to ask and see when the time is right. Afnadaj8668 says, Professor Dave versus God Logic, make it happen. Hey, I'd love to do it, but Professor Dave is another one that went full woke. You never go full woke. Basically, he's like, hey, modern day debate is bad. And there's just kind of pockets of, I'm not trying to pick on the woke people. Not all woke people are like that, but there are pockets of the woke community that are like modern day debate bad. They peer pressure each other to not go on. And they'll even if they see like a new name, like one time I was setting up a professor with a debate, and he told me, he's like, hey, someone like emailed me out of the blue and they told me not to go on your channel. They said it was like, that you're like bad. And I was like, really? So they'll even like email strangers, or they're like, oh, that guy's going to go on, that atheist is going to go on modern day debate. I'm going to tell them not to go on. Like, because they're trying to they'll be like, they're bad. You shouldn't go on there. You're helping someone that's bad. That's how sick some of these people are. They're mentally off. But what are you going to do? We've still thrived anyway. Modern day debate is close to where I would guess in about a month, we'll probably hit 200 and basically 250,000 subscribers. So 250,000 is pretty close. So we've nonetheless, no matter how many hurdles have been put in our way, modern day debate is a locomotive. It continues barreling down the train tracks, crushing and breaking through every hurdle that's put in front of it. So thank you for that being the case, because you guys have made that possible. Joshua Wooden says, Wilson, let's see, he debated apostate prophet and he lost, but he does only have one loss. Magic JEW Blood was not his moment. Let's see. Well, Andrew's been a huge help to the channel, as well as apostate prophet. Joseph Mullen says, Andrew, you and your husband have a nice night. Matt, yes, I remember that. But Matt, what are you gonna do? Let's see. But yeah, I have no hard feelings. I don't like holding a grudge. So even when people do, like Matt was like, I'm not gonna come on anymore. I was like, well, all right. Well, take it easy. I don't like holding a grudge, and you shouldn't either. For real, it's not good to hold a grudge. It's just not good mentally. It's not good for your body. It's just to hold a grudge. You're not hurting anybody. You're not getting back at anybody. The only person you're hurting is yourself by being in that mental state of holding a grudge. And then Average Debate Enjoyer says, not going to lie, after watching this debate tonight, I am ready for modern day debate. The pro-Israel side left so much. Let's see. Thank you for your support. Black Feather says, when Matt stood up to Daniel Hakikachu. I remember that. You have a good memory. Who's the Professor Dave? He's got a science channel. It's very popular. Lyric and Hazmat says, nah, Andrew, let's see. He said, nah, Andrew beat AP in that Zionism debate. AP did well, but he didn't win by any metric. And then Blackfeather says, Professor Dave needs to be intellectually humbled. If you watch his debate with Jesse Lee Peterson, I actually think that's one reason that Professor Dave doesn't want to come back. I think he was kind of turned off by that debate, is that Jesse Lee Peterson, that was on this channel. They clashed. Lucid Harry, thanks for your kind words, says, this channel deserves way more subs. It'll hit the big mill within a year or two. Thanks for your support. And Joseph Mullen says, I'd love to see Christopher Langan do a debate here. Oh, I don't know who that is. I'll have to find him. Thanks for your kind words. Jeff McPherson says, honestly, brother, your channel is gaining traction with the debate and the direction you are heading. Keep up the good work. Thank you. That means a lot. And then Andrew was oh, come on, Dr. Jones, join the fun. I promise I am. And let's see. Shadow Death 33 says, get Jay Dyer on again. Hey, I'm open to that. I think I've invited him like at least a couple times in the last year, but I usually don't hear back. I don't know if I'm using the right email, so I will have to check into that. Thanks for your kind words. Damir Neretic says, hi, howdy, hello, greetings and blessings. Thank you for being here. And Grumble Snort says, normies like me didn't even know debates were a thing until I saw the modern day debate clip. I think it'll grow as more people become aware of it. Thank you. That's interesting. That's good to know. And let's see. Gabriel T 6100 says that what the heck? I got 3 ads. I am sorry about that. It is not supposed to be. Basically, YouTube like really pushes us to allow ads during the live stream, but it sounds like you're getting more than I was expecting. If you got 3, I'm sorry about that. 3 is a lot. I'm sorry. But Thank you guys for your support. Daughter Galatians, thanks for being with us. I hope you guys have a big, beautiful night. I'm in a great mood. Thank you guys for your support. We just hit 450 likes. Thank you guys. We did finally hit it. Thank you guys. Swampy Pubes, good to see you. Catch you all in the next one. Have a good night, James. Thank you. You as well. But yeah, thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys for making this fun. And I'm very excited about the future. Keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable. We have, like I said, we've got a lot of debates coming up in the next week. So we'll see you back here. Check in to see when we are live because we've got a lot of them coming. Thank you guys. We're over 450 now. We're at 451. Thank you guys. Love you guys. This is a lot of fun. Thanks for being here. And I will see you guys at the next one. Have a good night.